All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Tyrion Hawkins here once again, coming at you with a video here. Yesterday, I did a Power Pack video giving you guys some very good information on how to create wealth. Okay, how to create wealth. If you didn't watch my last video, please do me a favor, go back and watch the video. It's about almost an hour long, but it's going to give you the strategy, so to speak, the blueprint that I shared that is going to help you generate generate wealth, okay, for years to come, even during a pandemic like we're in right now. The pandemic is coronavirus, right? COVID-19. So I laid out a lot of things yesterday. I drew it out for you, a step-by-step blueprint that is going to give you a lot of hope financially moving forward. So make sure you go back and see that video, because this is a follow-up video that I wanted to show you today, because it pretty much is a lead in. All right. I told you yesterday that the first component that I shared with you yesterday was business funding. Okay. The first component to creating wealth is you need capital. You need some type of funding. All right, in order to kickstart yourself, in order to kickstart yourself as an entrepreneur. Most people don't have the capital to start a business. That's what's happening. That's the pandemic. That's the epidemic that's happening. Financial crisis because of the pandemic. You see, so we need an alternative. We need a solution. And yesterday I drew out a solution, and now I want to go through each point step by step to show you exactly, take you on the inside of these particular phases, so that you can get a better understanding on how to start creating wealth starting today. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do is share my screen. All right, this is the new stimulus money strategy. This is by a company that I joined recently, a couple of days ago actually, called Novella. Novella, ladies and gentlemen, does many things. First of all, it helps you to establish your personal credit, and most of all, it helps you to establish business credit in order for you to gain or get capital funding. Okay, and there's other things that they do. They help you with debt elimination and many other services that they want to help you with to help your financial status increase. All right. This company has been around since 2014. This is not a new company at all. So it is a reputable company. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to play a presentation by the actual CEO. Okay. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Share. All right, you guys should be able to see my screen right now. Let me make sure I can see it myself. Awesome. So we're good. We are good. All right. So I'm going to go over here to the presentation. Again, this is Novella. And basically, we're going to be talking about funding, guys. All right. Again, the number one thing that people need, entrepreneurs need today, they need a way to get funding for their business. And what you're going to learn in this presentation is something that's going to light a fire under you. Hopefully it lights a fire under you. It lights a fire under me. This gentleman, he's the CEO of Novella. He's going to show you the new stimulus money strategy. You know, most people are looking for a stimulus check in the USA. They're anticipating a check. Why not create your own stimulus money? And if you don't know what I mean by that, sit back, relax, and watch this presentation. You're going to understand exactly what that means when this is over. Okay, so enjoy. I'm going to go ahead and play it. And you guys, what I'm going to do after this video, I'm going to leave the information below for you guys to get started. If you have any questions, all right, you're going to be seeing a lot of this. Remember, I told you this is the first phase right here. You're going to be seeing a lot of this. Now, I shared yesterday, unfortunately, this company what the customers that they have is only in the United States of America. Okay. For all my international folks, you know, there's something I have to really research to see how to get you funding. I mean, it's not easy if it's international, but I know there's got to be a way around it. So I got to do some due diligence on that. But this company is only servicing USA residents. So I just want to let you guys know that. So let's go ahead and play the tape. Once it's over, you know, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. You can leave comments as it's going on, and we'll love to hear your feedback. All right, so let's go ahead and play it, and I'll be right back to you guys.
Right, let's see if I'm live. Okay. Hello, D. Welcome to our webinar this evening. So you got Tiffany. Hello, Tiffany. Welcome to our free stimulus webinar. Vicky, welcome to the webinar. Andre, Tiffany, Keisha, Boss, Tori, Kaiser, another Tiffany, Kimberly, Beautiful Miss Financial, Tiffany, another Tiffany. Got a lot of Tiffany's. Tiffany's popular. Hey, Tiffany, welcome from Cleveland, Ohio. Hey, my name is Rico McCain. I'm the president and CEO of a company called Novae. I'm going to be getting started here shortly. I got 8:59 Eastern time. And tonight we're here to talk about this $2 trillion stimulus package and what it means to you. So if you're just joining us, no matter where you are from across the United States, just tell us in the chat, you know, where you're from. Just say good evening and tell us where you're from. To welcome yourself, and we're going to get started in about 2 more minutes. Let me give everybody an opportunity to log on. If you haven't had a chance yet to share this link, make sure you go ahead and do so as soon as possible, because I have a tremendous amount of information to go through tonight in a very short period of time, and you don't want people, you know, to catch the second half. You don't want people to log on, you know, at 9:20 or 9:05 even. You want them to be able to get all the information from beginning to end. This information is really critical, you know, for the next phase of what survival looks like for many people in our country. And it's very important for us to educate ourselves and become more prepared for what's about to happen. You know, there are people that are going to suffer over the course of the next, you know, 3 months to 6 months to 12 months, even, you know, God forbid, 18 months or even 2 years. But there are also going to be people that survive and thrive through this time. So we want to be able to give you some of that information so you can kind of leverage the opportunity to be one of those people who thrive. So go ahead and make sure you text people and let them know, hey, jump on this webinar. I'm sorry I didn't send you the flyer earlier, but it's some great information. The government is giving out free money, but if you don't do what's necessary, you're not going to be able to get the money, right? So let's go ahead and make sure we share that with some individuals so we can go ahead and get right into this information. I'm going to give it about 60 more seconds. I see we got Atlanta in the house. We got Colorado in the house. Daryl from New York is representing. Ebony from New York. Daryl actually was from North Carolina. Colorado, yourself from Colorado. Brooklyn, Shiz from Brooklyn. He's in the house. Ms. Morrow from South Carolina. Chicago, Louisville, Kentucky. Akron, Ohio. Louisville. Somebody else from Atlanta, Miami, Florida. Louisville, Kentucky. Colorado, Orlando, Florida. Atlanta, North Carolina. I mean, as you can see, we have people who are checking in all across the country to get this information. And I promise you, you will be not disappointed that you're going to spend the next several minutes with me getting this information, because it's definitely something that's going to prepare you to be able to take advantage of what's going on to leverage the situation for you and your family. So I got 9:01 Eastern time. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the information. I have another computer right here next to me where I can kind of monitor what's going on. But I also have a couple of administrators that's going to be joining me tonight, not here on the video, but they're remote, and they're going to be monitoring the comments and the questions that are going on. So as I'm going through some information, if there's something that I say that you have a question about that, you know, potentially you want me to go deeper into, you know, you can drop that question, and maybe my moderators can go ahead and give you an answer right away. Whether it's something that we can help you with as a company, or maybe it's a general question based on the information that I'm sharing. But the bottom line is you should congratulate yourself for being here tonight. Again, my name is Rico McCambry, and I'm the president and CEO of our company called Novae. I'll get more into who I am here in a little bit. But the bottom line is I want to jump right into this information because I got a lot of information to share with you in a very short period of time. Tonight, I'm not here to sell you on anything. Tonight, I'm not here to pump you up and motivate you. This is not a rah-rah session, but this is a session where I'm going to give you some information. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people who are suffering right now in our country. Just last week, there were over 3 million, almost 4 million individuals that filed for unemployment. Now, this past week, the numbers just came in, and over 6 million people have filed for unemployment. I think like 6.6 million people. So we're talking about over 10 million people have lost their jobs over the last 2 weeks because of what we're going through with this epidemic. It's actually a pandemic, not only here in our country, but across the globe. And I believe that things will get better. I totally believe and I have faith in God that, we didn't come this far just to stay right here. I believe that this is only a temporary situation, just like other temporary situations that have happened in our history. Obviously, in our lifetime, we never seen anything like this before, but our country is resilient. Our citizens are resilient individuals around the world, and I feel like that we're pulling together more than we've ever pulled together before. But it's not just about pulling together. It's not just about having faith. What it's also about is about taking action. And tonight's webinar is to give you some information so you can kind of gather where you are and start taking some action. I don't care if you're at the lowest point in your life. I don't care if you're dead broke, you're unemployed. Maybe you lost ambition years ago. Tonight, I'm not here to just talk about a stimulus package that the government is handing out. But what I want to do is also stimulate your mind. What I want to do is to be able to encourage you. I want to be able to educate you and give you some information that maybe you weren't aware of, opportunities that are on the table. And I also want to make it available to you individuals that's really going to help you take your life to the next level. And I'll tell my story here in a little bit, but I want to go ahead and jump right into the information. I want to encourage you to be present, okay? Don't look at this webinar and have this in one ear pod, and then AirPod, and then over here you're watching Netflix, or you're playing video games and you're just listening to the audio. I want you to engage because it's critical that you really, focus in on what we're talking about here so you can be able to not only improve your situation, but I want you to be able to get to the mind frame and the mind state where you want to be able to have more than what you need so you can help somebody else. And we're not just talking about finances, but we're also talking about information. We're also talking about energy. We're also talking about a level of inspiration and how you want to touch people. And the reality is we can't help people change their lives unless we're changing our own life. So let me go ahead and jump into it tonight because I can go on and on. And the bottom line is, say not getting any sound. I see Deb say she's not getting any sound. Can everybody hear me okay? Just say, I can hear you, okay? If you can hear me, because I saw somebody said they weren't getting any sound, okay? Thank you, Destiny. I appreciate that. Thank you, Maurice, Andre, Phyllis, that Tisha from high school. Thank you. So man, it's so many people on here. I really appreciate everybody joining in. But let me go ahead and jump into it. And if you're having an issue with your sound, you might want to check it out with your device, whether you're on a laptop, iPad, cell phone. I think it's a little gear at the top that you can actually click on to make sure your audio is coming out. So what are we going to talk about here tonight? We're going to talk about the difference between the CARES Act and the Disaster Relief Program for COVID-19. We're also going to talk about what this means for individuals, non-business owners. Most people are used to me doing webinars just talking about business, whether it's business funding, business credit, getting in business. But tonight, we're also bringing you some information for individuals that maybe never been in business before. You're just an individual. Maybe you're trying to figure out, well, what's the next step for you to take control of your financial future with what the government is laying down right now. Also, we're going to be talking about when and how do non-business owners get paid. We're also going to talk about what this means for business owners. Also, what this means for sole proprietors, independent contractors, and the self-employed. Okay, what they just laid down is some information that literally has never been available for like sole proprietors and independent contractors and even self-employed people to an extent. So if you're able to get this information I'm going to give you here tonight to take a few steps, you'll be able to put yourself on track and take advantage of this information. Also, we're going to talk about tips to get through this financial crisis and the coming recession. It's okay for us to be optimistic, okay? It's okay for us to have faith. But what you got to understand right now, we're living in some unprecedented times in our country. And there are going to be some things that happen, in this financial climate and environment that we've never seen before. And we got to be prepared. I want y'all to understand, I'm not here to scare you. What I'm here to do is to prepare you. So that's why I want you to be able to give me your undivided attention for the next few minutes. And I promise you, it's going to be the best decision that you've ever made, because I'm not only here to give you this information, I'm here to give you some energy. Okay, I'm here to give you some energy that when you leave this webinar, you're gonna say, you know what? Even if I don't rock with Rico, and by the way, rock means that's a metaphor for be able to do business with me, or congregate with us as we move along, or whatever the case may be. Even if you don't do business with me, the bottom line is I want to be able to encourage you to go after whatever you want to go after in your life and go get it. All of us only got a certain amount of time on this globe, on this earth, right? So if we only got a certain amount of time, let's make the best of it. If this is scaring you right now, let this scare you enough to wake you up to not be in the same position that you're in right now next year this time, or 3 years from now, or 5 years from now. Let this scare you enough to be able to put a plan together so you can start building a legacy. Okay, so that's where the preparation comes in. We're going to get away from being scared, but what we're going to do now is get into being more prepared. So we're going to talk about some tips to make it through this financial crisis and coming recession. We're also going to talk about where do we apply for these loans and grants and other funding as well. Okay, so obviously this is me. Now, this picture is a lot better looking because I actually need a haircut. Since we've been doing this social distancing and this shelter in place, I hadn't been out, to get a haircut. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and Novae. And the reason why I'm doing this is not to stroke my own ego, but really just to qualify the information, okay? I've been in business for several years, actually this year going on 19 years. And I know you're looking at this picture right now. I know you're saying to yourself, man, this guy is so good looking, okay? He's probably been rich all his life. I know I look like that, but guess what? That's not true. In fact, I come from very humble beginnings. I grew up in a single parent home on the south side of Atlanta. Moved down to Henry County when I started grade school, but I lived in a few different projects. My mother was a single parent. I didn't have a father in the home from the time I was born to the time I went off to college. And my mother taught me a lot about life, right? She taught me how to be independent. She taught me how to persevere. She taught me how to be committed. She taught me how to treat people right, how to love God, keep God first. But the thing she couldn't teach me was how to become financially independent. And she didn't teach me how to become financially independent because she didn't want to. But she didn't teach me that because she didn't know how. And if you can agree with that and something like that, potentially happened in your life where you were raised by your parents, they were really good people and they taught you a lot about life, but they really didn't teach you about finances, not because they didn't want to, but because they probably didn't know. I want you to go ahead and drop that in the comments if you can relate to me. If you can relate to that, you had some great parents, some great grandparents, maybe some great uncles and aunts, but they weren't able to teach you how to become financially successful because they just didn't know. And my grandparents just didn't know. My great-grandparents just didn't know. So I was on a mission to be able to change that, and I started throwing myself in personal growth and self-development. I started getting involved with organizations that taught me things about wealth, that taught me things about building my credit. And I started to change my life. I started my first business when I was 20 years old. In 2001, I was part-time, with this entrepreneurship journey, and I was going to college. And after my first year, I made about $50,000 or $60,000. And after my second year, I earned six figures. By the time I was 25, I went from six figures a year to six figures per month in income, becoming a multi-million-dollar producer by that time. And since then, I've been blessed and fortunate over the course of the last 19 years to start, build, and run 4 multi-million-dollar companies. And it's not just because I'm good looking, right, and super smart, but because I've been surrounded by a great team of people. My wife has been right here beside me the whole time, and she's the credit. And obviously, God is the credit for putting people in my life and putting opportunities in front of me to help transform not only the way my life is, but also the life of many others who've been associated with what we've been doing. I've been extremely blessed. I didn't finish college in my early 20s. In fact, I didn't go back to college until my early 30s because I kind of took a break from school early on because I was doing so well financially. And unfortunately, God bless her soul, my mother passed away when I was the age of 30 years old, but her dying wish was for me to go back to school to finish my degree. because nobody else in my family, my immediate family, had ever graduated from college. So I went back to do that, finished with an industrial engineering degree, by the time I was 32 years old. And, just probably about a year and a half ago, I got my MBA, okay? And actually accomplished a 4.0 in one of the top MBA programs in the country. Was also selected to the #1 business honor society in the world called Beta Gamma Sigma. If you look that up, you'll find some of my frat brothers like Alan Greenspan, a lot of the top executives of Fortune 500 companies. And again, I'm not saying that, just say, everybody, shop for Rico. I'm giving you this because, there's a lot going on behind what we do. We're not playing with this thing. This is not a part-time gig. We're actually building an enterprise here. Voted top 10% of direct selling CEOs out of over 550 CEOs by Business from Home magazine. Featured in top in the Who's Who in Black Atlanta for over the last decade. They actually have a publication where they feature some of the top and most accomplished African Americans in Atlanta, Georgia. Also on the National Small Business Association Leadership Council out of Washington, D.C., where we advocate for small businesses all across the country. In fact, a lot of information we're going to be sharing with you right here tonight is based off of conference calls and different web meetings that we've had with some of the leadership council across the country. We even had a conference call, with the president of the United States that was on that call. So I'm not going to say too much more about that. But the bottom line is Novae is the company that's my main focus right now. I have some business partners. I'm incredibly blessed. I feel like to have the best business partners in the world. I feel like we have the best staff in the world. We also have a team of affiliates. I feel like we got the best group of customers and affiliates in the world. The company was founded in 2014. We've been able to earn millions in revenue, and we're completely debt-free. And we initially started Novae back in 2014. Our whole focus was helping people with their personal credit. We were educating people on personal credit all across the country. We were helping them restore their credit, with different strategies and methods. And we've been able to help, individuals delete more than 1 million items, 50,000 plus clients. And now we've gotten in over the last couple of years, helping people develop business credit so they can go out here and get business funding, not attached to their Social Security number. So my whole goal, the goal of my partners, the goals of our affiliates across the country is to educate and service millions of people all across this country. Why? To improve our communities. The bottom line is, if nobody ever taught me something to change my life, I wouldn't be where I am right now. My children would be, in place to be able to change their lives and their kids' lives. And we would never have created this legacy if nobody would have ever taught me. So I feel like, hey, this is a great way to be able to give back, because if we don't change the way our society looks, our community looks, starting today, not just with the next generation, but starting today and even with the prior generation, they won't have a future. So I really encourage each and every one of you, even if you never got involved with our company, to be able to, become a voice that motivates and encourages people to do better and to get educated about their finances, their credit, to be able to live the life that they deserve. That's what we do here with our company. But enough talking about Novae. Let's go ahead and get into this information that you're here to hear about. What I want everybody to do as we get into this information is go ahead and text the keyword new money to 94253. And the reason why I'm asking you to do this, and for people who've been following us, people who are in the company, they're going to do it anyway because they trust me, they know me. Some of y'all just meet me for the first time and you say, man, your story sounds great. But bro, I don't even know you yet. Okay, so you'll get to know me as I go through this. But even if you don't do it right now, I want you to jot this down, because as we get more and more information, more and more updates, okay, from the government, from the Small Business Administration, from the Internal Revenue Service, from the Treasury, from these different lending partners that we have, as we get more and more information, we're going to make sure we keep everybody up to date with what's going on. So I want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to stay connected in what we have happening. And I'll pull this up again at the end, but at least I want to get everybody an opportunity to go ahead and join that test list. First things first, some of the details I'm going to be sharing with you are still being worked on to this point. It's amazing how quickly that they threw together this bill. And the reason why they threw together this, what they call stimulus package, and put it together was trying to get this money out here for people who are suffering. I mean, I don't know if y'all know it or not, but a majority of our country live what we call paycheck to paycheck. And a lot of people actually are paying last week's bills with this week's money. So if people are laid off and they don't have a job for 2 or 3 weeks, they're in a situation, where things can get really crazy. So what the government is doing is they're moving the action to be able to try to get money, not only in the hands of the individuals, but in the hands of the businesses so they can keep people employed. And we're going to go through all of that, but I want y'all to understand they put this together really quick, and a lot of changes are happening day by day. So everything you're going to hear about this evening was current as of April 1st, 2020. So if you watch this video in the future and you say, Rico, man, some of that information was wrong, it was outdated, well, that was because this video was made on April the 2nd, and the information and the content within this PowerPoint I collected over the last several days and got it ready, as of April the 1st. What I want y'all to know as we're going through this is I want you to have in mind that you got to get a good accountant or a CPA, okay? A good accountant or CPA, have them ready because you're going to need them to be able to maximize the amount of money that you want to get out of this deal. And believe me, there's a lot of money to be gotten if you play your cards right. So check this out. This link on the bottom right here, and you can't copy this or click this, in the webinar, but this is where you can find this actual bill, okay? The 2020 CARES Act. And we'll talk about what that is here shortly. But the bottom line is this thing is 335 pages long. So my whole goal was to be able to put together a webinar that is basically give you a summary of what's in this document that's 335 pages long. So if I seem like if I'm going a little fast, you got to understand I'm getting through the information so everybody can get it, right? And you'll be able to go back later on and potentially watch a replay and have access to this PowerPoint. But I want you to be able to take notes so you can really embrace and catch what I'm talking about. So you can go back and study it tonight, study it tomorrow. If you got some questions, you can get with the person who referred you. But the bottom line is we want to make sure that we educate you on what's going on. Now check this out. On March 27, 2020, which was just last Friday, the president signed the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. That's where the CARES Act comes from. You see the C-A-R and the E and the S, right? That's the CARES. Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. Now, the $2 trillion aid package will provide financial aid to families and businesses impacted by COVID-19. That's the coronavirus pandemic that we're dealing with right now across this country and even across the world. But this act was signed for the United States of America. The CARES Act builds on the two former pieces of legislation by providing more robust support to individuals and businesses, including changes to tax policy. So that's major. Now, I'm not going to get into all the nuances of what we're talking about. My goal was to take all of this information over the past couple of weeks and really truncate it down, right? To information that's most relevant to you so you can be able to have an understanding of what's going on so you can know how to take action. But it's important to understand that prior to the CARES Act being passed, we had this disaster relief program that had been put out there, and it was $50 billion. So when I was talking about, the difference between the CARES Act and the disaster relief program was the disaster relief program was out here and it was available to apply for before the CARES Act was actually passed. So what happened with this is it built on that legislation that was already out there to provide more money. So where is this $2 trillion going? So I want y'all to check out this really, really cool infographic. Okay, now if you're on your computer right now, you're definitely going to be able to see this a lot better. If you're on your phone, you're probably not going to be able to see it at all in terms of the small writing. But, I'll tell you the different sections. We got 5 different categories that the $2 trillion is going to. Now, if you're on your phone or your computer and you're chatting, right, you can just put this in the chat so everybody else can be able to see what I'm talking about. But there are 5 different categories that this $2 trillion is going to. The first category is individuals. We're going to talk about that here tonight. 30% of the $2 trillion is going to individuals, and that's about $603.7 billion is going to individuals. So that's 30%. Somebody put it in the chat for me. 30% going to individuals, and that's $603.7 billion. Okay, the second category is large corporations. 25% of this $2 trillion is going to the large corporations. That's around $500 billion. That's going to large corporations. And we're talking about the airline industry. We're talking about, different multi-billion-dollar companies in the travel industry. We're talking about companies like Amazon and Walmart. And all of them fall within that $500 billion, okay? Now let's go ahead and go to the third category, which is small businesses. That's 19% of this $2 trillion. And there's $377 billion that's allocated to small businesses out of the $2 trillion. All right. So that's the third category. Small businesses, 19%, $377 billion. Then you got state and local governments. They're getting 17% of this $2 trillion. So that's great for them to be able to, get additional resources to the hospitals, additional resources to the first responders, whether it's the paramedics, the firefighters, the state and local governments, even the schools, things of that nature. So that's $339.8 billion. And then lastly, you got public services. They're going to get 9% of this, okay? And that's a $179.5 billion, okay? Public services, 9%. That's the fifth category, and $179.5 billion. So those are the 5 categories. What are we going to focus on tonight? Primarily, we're just going to talk about the individual category, and we're going to talk about the small business category, okay? Because really, the vast majority of everyone on here, that's where you are affected. So our focus is going to be on individual and family benefits. We're going to talk about individual family benefit amounts and disbursement. Like, when are you getting your money? That's what most people want to know. They hear that you talking about the money, but tell me, when is the money coming? We're going to talk about the unemployment benefits. So if you lost your job, don't just sit there, and cry and get depressed. Nah, help is on the way. It's going to be all right. No, we're not just going to depend on unemployment, but that's going to be something to carry you, because we're not going to let you get in this situation again. It's important that you start getting your mindset there, because you can be beneficial and you can be self-sufficient, right, without a job. Okay, I'm not saying job's wrong, because you still have a job and you're still getting paid, even if you're not going. That's a blessing right now. But you got to stop thinking the only way you can pay your bills is a job. And we'll talk about that at another time. We're also going to talk about student loan benefits. We're going to talk about small business owner benefits. What the benefits are to small business owners, which are huge. But also there are huge benefits for self-employed and sole proprietors, okay? Now this is different than any other time in history. Also independent contractors and freelancers. This is different than any other time in history, okay? We're going to talk about loan limits, requirements, forgiveness, and disbursement. We're also going to talk about where to apply. One of the major pieces of this legislation is rolling out tomorrow. All right. And most people don't even know where to go to be able to apply. We're going to talk about that right here tonight. We're also going to talk about establishing a game plan. I don't care how excited you are. I don't care how faithful you are. I don't care how much you believe in God, how much you pray. All those things are important. It's absolutely important. I pray all the time. But the thing is, unless you have a plan and execute, your prayers fall on deaf ears. Your faith is useless. You got to be able to have a game plan. So we're going to talk about all of this here tonight. What we're also going to do is give you a game plan so you can change the way your future looks. You got to understand that, God gives us that kind of power to be able to direct our future. We kind of have like a blank canvas. We can decide how we want our life to look. All you got to do is get the information you need, see what your options are, get with some people that can coach you and push you along. And guess what, baby? You can wake up at your destination. It can happen to you, okay? So let's talk about the individual and family benefits. Now, they call this the recovery rebate payments. That's what they call this, okay? This is not like a tax refund, but it is sort of like a refund that's dealing with your taxes, because the rebates are set up as a tax credit against an individual's federal income tax obligations. And you may say, Rico, I have no idea what you're talking about. That's cool. Just follow me. Okay, American adults will be granted the following one-time payments. And I know everybody already been talking about this, whether you're at the grocery store, the barbershop, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, people doing TikTok right now. I thought my daughter was the only one that did TikTok. Now, apparently 90% of the adults across America are doing TikTok, right? My wife told me we got to do a TikTok video tonight or something like that. So I guess I'll be doing TikTok. I don't know. Okay. But at any rate, check this out. I got to get back on track. Y'all tell me to stay on track now, because we got a lot of information. So check this out. $1,200 payment to individuals earning below $75,000 a year. Okay. And your money will be reduced by $5 for every 100 in income that's north of $75,000. All right. So every $100 you make more, the 75,000 is going to go down $5. I'm going to show you a chart here shortly to show you kind of where you end up, so you'll be able to take a screenshot of it. And it phases out if you make more than $99,000. Okay, so if you're making more than $99,000 a year, that's your gross adjusted income. You're not going to get the $1,200. I'm sorry to let you know about that. Okay. Also, the $2,400 payment is for married couples that's earning less than $150,000 a year. So if you're married and you file jointly, okay, so that means you have a married couple that file taxes together, you're going to get $2,400 as long as you make collectively less than $150,000. Okay, checks phase out completely at $198,000 for couples. All right, so if you head a household, same thing. Maybe you're living with another individual, or maybe they don't actually earn income. You're not filing jointly, so you head a household. If that's the way you file, that's $1,200, earning up to $112,500 a year, and it phases out after $136,500. And also, if you haven't heard, you're going to get an additional $500 per qualifying child. Now, this much most people don't know. Okay, most people, they think, well, what's a qualifying child? I've seen out there 18 or under. I've seen out there if they're in college, it's 25 or younger. I hear people talk about it all the time. If I just got somebody that's my child and they still live at home, I consider them dependent, even though they're an adult. No, they still don't count. Okay. Yesterday, as far as the information that's provided by the federal government, is 16 years of age or younger. Okay. That's how you're going to calculate that $500 per child. And it must be a dependent on your most recent tax return. That's how they're going to be able to figure that out. If you didn't file, but they are, then, obviously you can submit that. So this graph right here just kind of breaks down, how much money you're going to get based on your situation. And also based on your income. Because if you look at the income, right, and then you go up and you can see, if it's a single filer with no children, that's $1,200. That's right there on that graph. All right, if you go up to the next one, head a household with one child, that's $1,700. Head a household with two children, that's your $1,200 plus your $500 plus your $500, that's $2,200. Married filer with no children, that's $2,400, as you can see, right? And then as you keep going to the right, if that's your situation, you'll see based on your income, the amount of the rebate that you're going to get, okay? So hopefully you're on a device where you can take a screenshot of this and you can be able to, review this further a little bit later. All right, so it's important for you to understand, and I want you to be able to note this, that you got to have a Social Security number and not be behind on child support to receive this payment, okay? You have to have a Social Security number. You can't be behind on child support to receive the payment. And if you're listed as a dependent on somebody else's tax return, you do not receive a payment either. In order to receive this, you had to file your taxes in 2019, which was, just this past tax season. If you haven't yet, that's cool. They'll accept 2018 tax return. So let's talk a little bit more about this recovery rebate, okay? Because there's some other notes I want y'all to be able to jot down. Individuals that receive Social Security benefits can still get it, okay? Disability, they can still get it. Veteran benefits, they can still get it. And even if you get unemployment, you can still get it, okay? You just had to file your taxes in 19 or even 2018, all right? Now, if you made too much money to qualify, hey, congratulations, because you're making good money, right? Hopefully your expenses are not that high and you're able to take advantage of that high income. Because y'all got people that actually make a high income, then they also live a high lifestyle, and they just as broke as people that make pretty much no money, right? That's the person you don't want to be, all right? So the whole goal is to be able to make a lot of money, be able to spend a little money, to be able to take the difference and invest it, and to be able to get rich, okay? All right, we'll talk about it another time. So this is the bottom line. If you made too much money, I gotta say, stay on track, stay focused. All right, if you made too much money, what's gonna happen if you qualify in 2020 is you'll receive that tax credit towards your taxes the next year. So, if you're a person that typically pays, like for me, I haven't saw a tax refund since like 2001 or something like that. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, I don't even know what a tax refund is. But the bottom line is I look for all the credits I can get. Why? Because I want to reduce my tax liability. So You know, if you make too much money, that's cool. But if you qualify some respect, then they'll credit that to your taxes the next year, okay? When will the payments arrive? That's what people want to know. When will the payments arrive? Well, check it out. The IRS said on March the 30th, okay, that's just early this week, in a news release that it's expected to begin distributing the payments within the next 3 weeks, all right? So obviously, you know, we're looking at like around April the 20th or sooner, okay? Because they said within the next 3 weeks. You know, I've heard that it could be as soon as tomorrow when they start the first wave. It can be as soon as next week, but they said within the next 3 weeks. But let me tell y'all something. Do not start spending this money before you get it. In fact, you need to act like you got this money and you really didn't know it was coming, but you just put it to the side or somewhere else, unless you really need it. But if you don't really need it, start stacking that money up. We'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. All right, how the payments will be made. The payments are going to be made through direct deposit if you received a refund, okay, a refund direct deposited in the last 2 years. Now, if you didn't receive a direct deposit in the last 2 years, all right, it's going to be done by paper check. Now, hopefully what's going to happen within the next couple of weeks, since they said the next 3 weeks, that the Treasury Department is going to be creating a web portal to submit information to receive payments. So you'll be able to go to the Treasury Department's website and give them your bank account information and get this money if they don't have your direct deposit information. Because the last thing you want happen is this check floating around out there, because people are definitely going to be looking out for it and trying to grab it. All right. If you haven't filed taxes in the last 2 years, okay, what you need to do is contact an accountant as soon as possible. And what you're going to need to do is file a simple return. Okay. Uh-oh. I just did something here on my side, y'all. Hold on for a second. What in the world? All right, here we go. I'm back. Okay. So you need to file a simple tax return, all right? And basically, you know, you're just going to be claimed. That's how you're going to be able to claim your rebate and get it quickly. But you need to be able to claim it by December 31st, you know, in order to qualify for it. So the bottom line is you need to do that as quickly as possible. Contact the CPA, an accountant, tax service, you know, and tell them you want to do a simple tax return for this year or 2018. So let's talk about unemployment insurance. This is really critical for individuals who are out here, you know, and have lost their jobs. Very unfortunate situation. But the stimulus have, you know, they put out the money to be able to help individuals try to reach their full salary as closely as possible. So on top of, you know, whatever your unemployment is, they're going to be paying up to $600 per week. Okay. You know, in addition to your unemployment, up to 4 months. Okay. Now this is going to boost individuals in terms of their income, and again, help them get as close to the median weekly wage as possible. All right. So some people may end up coming out better this way than they did with the money they were actually making on their job. So benefits are going to actually last longer too. Okay. Benefits are going to last longer. Regular state unemployment eligibility is usually 26 weeks. It has been expanded additional 13 weeks for a total of 39 weeks. All right, so that's really good. You know, give you an opportunity to be able to still pay your bills and things of that nature. You know, but obviously you want to be trying to working on something else. So again, you won't face the same situation if this thing ain't over. I want y'all to get comfortable, because you got to understand, if they're saying 39 weeks and if the government really comes through, you can't be so comfortable to the fact that you continue to spend that money and not do anything else, like this thing is going to go away and 39 weeks is over, and then you don't have what's necessary to be stable or to be ahead. So that's how you got to think. You got to start thinking about being ahead. Stop thinking about being on time. You know, that's one of the things I've always, the kind of discipline I've always had is being on time. Or being just enough wasn't never good enough. For me, I always thought about being ahead. See, because I understood that if you get ahead, sometimes when life ain't treating you so nice and you get a little bit behind, since you were already ahead, you still gonna be ahead. hope y'all caught that. I got to go because I got so much to talk to y'all about. I ain't got time to really give it to y'all like I want to give it to y'all, but I hope you caught that, right? The package expands. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya, saying stay on track. I appreciate that. All right. The package expands unemployment insurance to those who don't typically qualify. All right. So check this out, y'all. If you're a gig economy worker, like an Uber driver, a Lyft driver, independent contractors, maybe you're involved with a network marketing company, or you're a freelancer, you're self-employed, maybe you're a barber or a beautician, maybe you're a landscaper, right? If you have been affected by COVID-19 and you can't perform your duties, now you can file for unemployment. Man, this is major, okay? This is major. Individuals who haven't been laid off but can't work due to a variety of reasons that we were just talking about are eligible to receive unemployment checks. These reasons, which include a case where you may be diagnosed with COVID-19. Maybe you've been awaiting a diagnosis or had a family member that was diagnosed with the disease. You still can file, even if it's not you being diagnosed. Individuals who were scheduled to start a job but could not because their future workplaces had to shut down due to COVID-19. Also being eligible. Individuals who had a household died due directly to COVID-19. And also maybe you can't go to work because your children are out of school and you got to stay home. Guess what? You can file for unemployment. Workers who are furloughed, okay, but haven't been fully laid off, they're also eligible as well. All right, and there's typically a 7-day waiting period before an unemployed worker can get benefits, which is the standard feature of most states' unemployment systems. Well, check it out. That's being waived, okay? So, again, if the government comes through on this is an incredible addition, to what was already out there. And hopefully all the 10 million people that's been affected by this terrible pandemic that has filed for unemployment to be able to get what they're looking for and what I just talked about. Check this out, y'all. There's also relief for individuals who owe student loans. Okay, the Department of Education implemented student loan relief measures just this week. The stimulus package expands those measures, giving protection to borrowers pursuing loan forgiveness programs and those who have defaulted. Okay, all right. Now, so we want to go ahead. You might want to go back and read the provisions. But if you defaulted, meaning you haven't been paying, or if you have a loan forgiveness program, that you trying to get involved in or pursuing or, payment plans and things of that nature. Interest will not accrue on the federal student loans from April of this year through September the 30th. And no payments must be made. All right. So that's great. All right. In addition to that, it's not going to hurt your credit. Even though payments are suspended during the time period, the Department of Education will treat it as if the borrower made a payment toward your loan. Borrowers who are in loan rehabilitation programs will also have the suspension period count towards the rehabilitation. Now this is really exciting right here at the end of the day for people who are going through that program, because obviously there's things you have to do, there's payments you have to make, and if you end up breaking that program, then you may be kicked out of the program, which means you still default on loans, and your finances and credit, y'all kind of jacked up, right? But now with this program, they're allowing the payments to be suspended and actually being able to let you keep that time for the program. Like I said, your credit reports and scores will not be impacted during the suspension program. But listen to this. Wage garnishment and tax refund seizures will be halted during the forbearance period. Now, I know some people on here like, man, they've been praying for this, they've been holding off on filing their taxes because they just knew they were not going to get their taxes because they owe the government for their student loans, but they have halted all tax refund seizures. And this is even better. The Department of Education announced just last week that they're going to be refunding approximately, listen to this, $1.8 billion in offsets to more than 830,000 borrowers. So that means you all who applied and you were trying to get your tax refund, you were counting on your money, and then you didn't get it, or either you got a much smaller amount because you owed this money to the federal government for the student loans, and you were mad for a period of days, you probably want to go find somebody, right? But guess what? You're going to get all that money back. So That's amazing, and that's going to be a blessing to so many people who are counting on that money. But I want y'all to understand, this is like another chance. This is like a breath of fresh air for you to be able to get your situation together. Don't look at these situations and say, man, God's blessing you and this is great, and you take advantage of it, but you continue to make the same mistakes in the future. You got to be able to, get this information and do better. All right. So let's go ahead on to some other information you need to know based on this for the individuals and families. Also, paid family leave. You can get up to 12 weeks of family leave, with the first 2 weeks being unpaid if they must stay at home with children whose schools and daycare centers have closed because of the pandemic. They're going to be getting 2/3 of their pay with up to $1,000 a week in max pay for family leave. Okay, that's what the stimulus is paying for this. Also 80 hours of paid sick leave at full pay, capped at $511 per day if unable to work due to medical quarantine or treatment of COVID-19. So, that's basically 2 weeks of paid sick leave, if you end up getting COVID-19. And that's basically guaranteed by the federal government. And I believe the way this works is you're actually going to be paid by your employer, and your employer is basically going to be reimbursed for that. So they actually have to file that. Okay. Check this out. Mortgage and renter relief. And I'm hearing this from a lot of our friends I have who are invested in the real estate market. They're terrified right now because, they have a large part of their portfolio in real estate, and they, have been building a portfolio based on the rents they receive. And because of this economic downturn, many people are looking not to pay their rent. But this will be somewhat of a relief for some individuals, depending on how they finance those mortgages. But borrowers with federally backed mortgage loans experiencing hardship due to COVID-19 can request a forbearance on their payments for up to 6 months. Now, during this time, no foreclosures or evictions from multifamily buildings or single-family properties with federally backed mortgages can take place. Okay? So some of you that may be renting, you might need to have that conversation with your landlord, especially if you're in a position where you can't pay. Now, I want everybody to understand, if you're in a position where you can pay, and if you're not, and you're trying to leverage what's going on with the COVID-19, that's really hurting the circulation of the economy and really making sure that people can maintain their jobs and different things like that. And I don't really mean to get into trying to make you feel bad, but the bottom line is, if you can't contribute to the society, be a contribution. Okay. Retirement plan changes. 10% of early withdrawal penalty is waived right now. Okay, for all COVID, coronavirus related distributions of up to $100,000. All right. So that's up to 100 grand. So if you want to take out 250,000, then you're going to be subject to the 10% on an additional 150,000. But the sum withdrawn may be contributed to a retirement account within 3 years to avoid being taxed at the ordinary income tax rate. So not only do you have to deal with the 10% withdrawal penalty normally, you also have to deal, with the fact that you're getting hit with the ordinary income tax rate. But if you take the money out, let's say you just want to sit on it and use it to pay some bills, but you can get the money back up and put it somewhere else in the next 3 years, you won't get hit with that income tax rate, and you won't get hit with 10% penalty as long as it's below $100,000. And the limit was $50,000 to be able to take out. Now they raised it temporarily to $100,000. And also, if you haven't filed taxes in the last 2 years, again, as I said earlier, contact an accountant, CPA, tax firm, who's ever doing taxes, tell them you want to file a simple tax return as quickly as possible. The deadline for claiming this rebate that we're talking about is December 31st of this year. All right, but the longer you wait, the longer it's going to take for you to get your money. So you want to do that as soon as possible. All right, so let's get into the small business benefits. All right, now if you've been on here and you don't own a business, you never owned a business, don't get off here now. Let me tell you why. Because you want to eventually own one. You may say, Rico, I don't know anything about business. Neither did I when I went into business. I knew nothing about sales. I knew nothing about marketing. I knew nothing about leadership. All I knew was I had ambition to want to learn. I had ambition to want to change my life. I had ambition to want to leave a legacy. And because of their ambition and me receiving the right information, God willing, I was able to change my life. So what I'm telling you is be open. If you're in a situation right now where you never own a business, you're in a situation right now where you never had any passive income or never had any leverage, just hang out with me for a second. Because maybe this won't benefit you, but at the end of the day, maybe it will in some respect. You never know. But just hang out so you can be encouraged. So like I said, after this thing is over with, we can take this thing to another level. I'm going to be doing webinars a couple of times a month, teaching people how to be able to go, from just having a lifestyle of being drowning in liabilities, moving to the different asset classes. I'm going to be teaching about those asset classes and how to be able to, start getting yourself to a position where you're enjoying life and living legacy. So now we're talking about the Paycheck Protection Program. That's PPP loans, okay? The Paycheck Protection Program, which is really the highlight right now, of this $2 trillion stimulus package, authorizes up to $350 billion in forgivable loans to small businesses to pay their employees during this COVID-19 crisis. The initiative provides 100% federally guaranteed loans to small businesses. Okay, all loan terms will be the same for everybody. So check this out. This is the forgivable loan that everybody's been hearing about. So this is like, well, how can I get this money that I don't have to pay back? When I started reading about this and started educating myself, and I was like, man, this sounds almost too good to be true. I understand what they're doing here, right? And I'm with it 100% because at the end of the day, if they don't do this, I really don't know what they could do, right? Because there's so many people that are in a place where they've never seen before, including the leadership of companies, the leadership of the country. There's so many people that don't know what the heck to do. So this may seem a little strange, but follow me here. Everything is in that 335-page document and also other resources you can find on government websites and things of that nature. But the loan amounts will be forgiven as long as the loan proceeds are used to cover these things: payroll costs, rent, mortgage, most mortgage interest, and utility costs over the 8-week period after the loan is made. All right. Now I want y'all to follow me. I know I got some self-employed people on here, or maybe some independent contractors saying, man, I don't have payroll. I'm not paying rent. I thought I was going to be able to use this. Listen, follow me here, okay? We're going to get somewhere with this. So, top line, that's how the loan is forgiven. You're paying for those things. But check this out. That's not only for employees, that's also for contractors, okay? So if you own a business and you self-employed and you're paying yourself as an employee or as a contractor, wouldn't it make sense to take advantage of this loan in the downtime so you can continue paying your employee, that's yourself, so you can still pay, they can still pay their bills and you won't have to lay your employee off? Absolutely. That's why they say independent contractors and sole proprietors, right? And freelancers is because they are in that situation. So check this out. Who is eligible? Small business owners with fewer than 500 employees. That's pretty much the vast majority of businesses in our country. Small business ownership otherwise meets the SBA's standard size, and it depends on, your NCA, IS code. 501c3 with fewer than 500 employees, an individual who operates as a sole proprietor. Okay, if you're a sole proprietor, that means this includes you, you're eligible. An individual who operates as an independent contractor. Your network marketers, people who are involved in some type of income opportunity, and your 1099, if you're an affiliate marketer, if you're a direct salesperson, right? That includes you. An individual who is self-employed, who regularly carries on a trade or business, that means you're actually making money doing something, okay? That includes you. A tribal business concern that meets the SBA size standard 501c19 veterans organization. In addition, special rules may make you eligible. Again, that's the NAICS. You can look up that. Most people actually need to. And then also if you're operating as a franchise. But check this out. The next question is, well, how much can I get? Rico, all that sounds good. See, Elle say, show us the money. And so she said that even before this slide came up, okay? Well, here goes the money, Elle. All right. Loans can be up to 2.5 times the borrower's average monthly payroll costs. not to exceed $10 million. Okay. So 10 million is the max. All right. And obviously you're only getting that if you're like, a pretty well-established organization. But how do we calculate this? All right. So, well, all it is your payroll costs. Okay. But it's your total payroll cost. So it's your included payroll costs for employers. So you got to think about salary, wage, commission, other compensation, payment of cash, temporal equivalent, payment for vacation, family medical sick leave, allowance for dismissal or separation, payment required for provisions of group healthcare benefits, retirement benefit, payment of state or local tax assessed or compensation of employee. Then if you're a sole proprietor, independent contractor, self-employed individual, it says the sum of payments of any compensation to or income of a sole proprietor or independent contractor, that is wage, commission, income, net earnings from self-employment or similar compensation is an amount no more than $100,000 a year. And then also includes excluded payroll costs, which is basically if you make, or your employee, or if you make more than $100,000, that part above $100,000 won't be included. Payroll taxes won't be included. Income taxes won't be included. Compensation of employee, whose principal place of residence is outside the United States, obvious reasons, qualified sick leave wages. So this is how we calculate it. The sum of your included payroll costs minus the sum of your excluded payroll costs, which is really anything that you're making above 100 grand, or if you're not paying somebody because they live outside the United States and qualify sick leave time, equals your payroll costs. So I'm giving you what they're saying how to calculate it. For the average person, what you're going to do is take those payroll costs for the last 12 months, okay? Then you're going to multiply, then you're going to divide that by 12. That's going to give you your average payroll cost. And then you're going to multiply that times 2.5, right? That's going to give you the maximum amount. That's going to give you the amount that you can actually borrow. And they may even consider based on expenses as far as rent, utilities, things of that nature, to increase it even after that point. But that's the general rule of thumb, 2.5 times what your payroll is. So you'll likely have to certify certain statements, such as you were in business prior to February 15th, and you had employees at that time. Remember, employees could be yourself, okay? You will have the proceeds of the loan to pay employees, rent, utilities, and or mortgage. Okay, so, obviously you're saying you're paying your employees, you're paying your rent, you're paying your utilities, and mortgage and whatnot. So that's what you're going to have to agree to on this form. Now, you do not have any pending loan for a similar purpose in place right now. So if you're applying for anything else that won't allow you to apply for this, unless you've already started the process with the EIDL, that's the emergency injury disaster loans, which we're going to talk about here shortly. But if you've already applied for that, which most of you, if you kind of been hip to the game, you've already done that. The PPP loans just came out like 2 days ago, okay? And actually, you can't even apply for that yet. Application is supposed to start tomorrow. I haven't had a chance to check the website today, but it may get extended in terms of, delayed rather, in terms of when they're going to allow people to start applying because of the complexities of how this is going to happen. I'll tell you about that shortly. If you're a sole proprietor, independent contractor, self-employed, the lender may ask for other documentation such as 1099s and tax filings. So you got to be prepared to be able to show that. But what are the long terms? Interest rate of 0.5%. All right. I got a text message about an hour ago from one of my business associates that told me that they heard today that the Feds just changed it to 1% to be able to appease the banks. Okay. So the banks want a little bit more money on the deal. So it's been said that it's going up to 1%. I'm not sure. I haven't confirmed that, but that's what I heard today. The maturity of 2 years. So that means the terms, the loan term is going to be 2 years. But your first payment is deferred for 6 months. 100% guaranteed by the SBA. That means there's no collateral or no personal guarantees for this loan. No borrower or lender fees payable to the SBA. So that's really cool because you don't have to worry about expedited fees. All loan payments will be deferred for 6 months. Okay, and I said that earlier, the first payment was deferred for 6 months. Most importantly, the SBA will forgive the portion of the loan that proceeds that are used in the first 8 weeks to cover the payroll costs, rent, utilities, and mortgage interest. So really what they're doing here is they really want to give this cash infusion to businesses to cover them for the next 2 months, because they're assuming over the course of the next 2 months, this COVID virus is going to die down and people can come out from their houses and everything can get back to normal. That's the prayer. That's the hope. If it doesn't happen, then it looks like they're just going to be printing more money. Okay. Now, when can you apply to get these loans? Starting April the 3rd. That's what they are telling us. Now, remember, this presentation I put together, compiled all this information up to April the 1st. All right. So on April the 1st, they said that they're going to start letting people apply for these loans on April the 3rd at 12:01 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. So that's literally about a little bit more than 2 hours from now. Okay. April, and only small businesses and sole proprietors can apply on April the 3rd, given the information that I received last. April the 10th, that's when independent contractors and self-employed individuals can apply. Now, other regulated lenders will be able to make these loans as soon as they are approved and enrolled in the program. Now, check this out. This is the timeline on getting the money. And all this is like gray area because, again, they threw all this together so fast. They printed up this money so fast, and they're trying to get it out here, again, to help these business owners. Because if they help the business owners, then obviously business owners can help the employees. And the only way the business owners can get this money is they give it to their employees to get it forgiven. So it's kind of like pretty sweet how they kind of put everything together, because at the end of the day, most business owners really want to keep their employees employed. They really want to pay them. So it's cool, like they're giving them this money to keep the economy going. So it's a pretty sweet deal if everything pans out. People in different areas of this whole asset class don't necessarily agree with this. But for the average American, it's really a blessing that they're doing this. But the senior administration officials say that capital could be available to small businesses as soon as the same day of approval. And they're saying that when you submit, they're going to be giving out approval sometimes the same day. So that means you can actually get approved and get your money that day. But a decision is guaranteed to be given within 60 days. So somebody says, when am I going to get my money? Well, that's between day 1 and day 60. Okay. Now, obviously, over the next couple of weeks, we'll have more of a general idea of what that range actually looks like, because obviously for people who are applying, we'll be able to really see when they get their money, how much they get, what's going on with it. We're going to talk more about that at the end. But these loans are first come, first served, and should be applied for ASAP. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that here shortly. But remember, there's $350 billion. Now, there's over 45 million small businesses in our country right now. So if there's over 45 million small businesses and there's $350 billion being given out, you got to understand that can be sucked up pretty quickly. Now, I was watching CNBC yesterday, and one of the analysts on there was saying that according to some of his banking relationships, they're estimating that all of the $350 billion could be soaked up in the first 24 hours. Now that would be incredible if that happened, but they said if everybody don't soak it up in the first 24 hours, certainly potentially the first week. So hopefully that's not the case. So our independent contractors and small and self-employed individuals will still be able to get access to this money. But it's important to understand you got to be able to apply as soon as possible. Okay. Well, where can you apply? All right. So you can apply at local FDIC insured banks that have already been dealing with the SBA. So most of your big banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, BB&T, most of your local credit unions, you can do that. But obviously, who wants to go in to these places? And obviously, most of the banks are closed anyway. And if you're trying to do it through one of these major banks, everybody else is trying to do it through major banks. And guess what? You're on hold for like 15 hours trying to get through. So, or you can actually hook up with an online SBA certified lender. All right, so this is really cool because what's happening now is the SBA and the Treasury decided to actually utilize banks for these loans to be the conduit, to the business owners. And not only banks and credit unions, but also SBA certified lenders. Now, the cool thing is There's no cost to apply, but the super cool thing is we're actually partnering with the online SBA certified lender. Of course, y'all know we do business funding. So basically what that means is everyone who's attached to Novae can actually apply for the PPP loan directly on our website, and you ain't got to worry about calling the bank. You ain't got to worry about going into a bank. You ain't got to worry about calling a credit union. You can actually apply for the PPP loans on our website. And you have the same access as anybody else if they would have went through Wells Fargo, if they would have went through Bank of America, or anybody else. So I'm super excited and great, very humbled that we have this opportunity, because there are a lot of people that we need help. And instead of them being able to, rack their brain on how they're going to get this help, they'll be able to do it directly through our websites, okay? So for those of you who don't have a website, if you know somebody who's affiliated with Novae, they have a website. They have a link on their website where you can apply for this starting tomorrow if the Treasury comes through. If the SBA comes through and they've connected everything on the back end, we'll certainly know that. In fact, I'm going to check my emails when I get off here to be able to, see if we have that in place. But all of the banks, credit unions are going to be inundated, but you'll be able to not have to worry about staying on hold, not have to worry about standing in line, be able to submit your application, be able to get some, some updates on that for the first 24 hours, letting you know where your application stands and what you need. So thank God for Novae. All right. So moving on, we're going to talk about economic injury, disaster loans, and loan advance. This is something else that people are really excited about. The SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program provides small businesses with working capital loans of up to $2 million that can provide vital economic support to small businesses, and economic injury disaster loan advance of $10,000. Why am I clapping? Because there's something to clap about. All right, let's go to the next slide. Hey, it says this is the $10,000 advance that y'all been hearing about. All right, so you heard about people. Listen, individuals are getting to $1,200. Married couples are getting to $2,400. If you got a whole lot of kids, you're gonna get $500 for all those kids. What if you got a business? You got a business, you apply for this disaster loan, and you get a $10,000 advance. Check this out. This is how it works. Y'all, this is the same guy. He excited 2 times. Why? Because he married and got kids. He also excited because he got a business. But he is about to get paid, okay? And the question is, are you about to get paid? See, if you meet the minimum requirements to apply for a disaster loan, all right, the grant will be available to you whether or not your loan application is approved. I want y'all to take a screenshot of that, and I want you to understand what's going on here. And I want you to say, man, we got to leverage the system. Let me tell you something. Most people will not get this $10,000, which is, in the grand scheme of things, like a free $10,000, simply because they don't read. Simply because they won't invest into themselves enough. And I'm not even talking about money. I'm talking about time. I'm talking about there's so many people that saw this flyer that, knew that it's a $2 trillion stimulus package and knew that it's for small business owners, but they found something else to do tonight. Whether it was watch TV or go do something, whatever it is, but they're not getting this information. They just missed out on 10 grand. So you ought to pat yourself on the back and just be a hit tonight, because for those who didn't know about this, now you just became $10,000 richer if you go ahead and make sure you do what's necessary to get this cash. Check this out. If you need access and capital quickly and don't need a larger loan amount, this may be a good option for you. All right, who is eligible? Let's walk through this bad boy. All right, businesses with fewer than 500 employees, check. Businesses that were in operation before January 30th, 2020, check. Businesses that meet SBA's industry-based size standard requirements, looking at ICS code, check. Nonprofits, if you're a nonprofit, check. You don't have to be a nonprofit, obviously. You don't have to be a veteran organization, obviously, but if you are eligible. But your 2019 business return is if filed, or your 2019 year-end profit and loss statement, along with your balance sheet and most recently filed business tax return. All right. So that means if you haven't done your 2019 taxes yet, like what's a Drake song say, let's see, haven't worked on the weekend, haven't do my taxes. I'm too turned up. Yeah, I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I've been too turned up all year, so we ain't done no taxes yet, right? Been too turned up. Especially when they told me we were gonna be like after March 15th, they were gonna be delaying it, but when this came along, it's like, man, we gotta get it done real quick because my CPA been pressing me out about getting all the paperwork over. But I'm like, look, man, we enter into momentum. Like business is really doing nice right now. We're trying to help all these people. But they extended it, and I'd already paid her for an extension anyway. But the bottom line is, when this came out, it's like, man, we don't have to have our tax return. All we had to have was our year-end profit and loss statement, the balance sheet, and most recently filed business tax return, which is 2018. Okay, so that means if you're in business and you want to have this and you want to apply for the economic injury disaster loan, which, by the way, is what you have to apply for to get the advance. You want to go ahead and working on your paperwork they're talking about right here, so you can make sure you get this money. Okay, 2020 year-to-date profit and loss statement as well. All right, if you don't know what profit and loss statements are, if you don't know what balance sheets are, you need to make sure you start educating yourself. And if you're making money in your business and you don't have a bookkeeper, you need to do that as soon as possible. Why? Because it's critically important to be able to leverage all this money that you got. In fact, I'm gonna give y'all some free game real quick. If you don't know what free game means, that's a metaphor for some great information that you can utilize to take your business to the next level. Somebody dropped this in the comments for me. It's called Bench, BENCH.co. Bench, BENCH.co. Okay, Bench.co. There you go. Thank you. Now, Bench is a bookkeeping platform, and they can, keep track of all your books. And they do it based off of the revenue you're earning. So if you're not earning that much money, it's not really that much for them to do it for you. But they prepare all these documents for you. You can see where you are, and also you can utilize them when it's time for you to be able to get the money you need to run your business. That's the free game I'm talking about. What are the long terms? Loans up to $2 million are available. Disaster loans come with low fixed interest rates of 3.75 or 2.75 for nonprofits. So that's less than 4%. The repayment term is up to 30 years, reducing the monthly cash flow burden. I want y'all to think about how big that is. Now, the vast majority of y'all on here don't need $350,000. But check this out. If you did get a loan for $350,000 for your business and they approve you, guess what? Your payment is only $1,600 a month. So let's just say if you just took that down by 10%. You took that down by 10%, that's a $35,000 loan, and your payment is $160 per month. Now, how many of y'all can use $35,000 right now? See, this is the reason why you got to start learning business. If you don't understand business, this is why you got to put yourself in an environment that forces you to create a discipline to build wealth. Build an environment that forces you to create a discipline to start building a legacy. Okay? This is what we're talking about here. All right, so there are no prepayment penalties. Although interest will accrue, payments may be deferred for 6 months. All right, the money is available in all 50 states. No matter where you are, you can get access to this. The time and business requirement has been waived. Wow. Most SBA loans, minimum 1 year, some 2 years, some 3 years, some 5. Okay, but the time and business has been waived. But this is the part that starts choking some people up. Now, they may relax this a little bit. And in fact, we haven't even seen this as a standard yet. But I want to encourage you all, if you don't have good credit, if you don't have business credit, you better start working on it. Let me tell you why. They're going to be giving away a whole lot of money with this $350 billion, okay, with the PPP loans. But also this loan, the disaster loan, started at $50 billion. What y'all got to understand, the disaster loans were the first program to come out before the stimulus was passed. They started with $50 billion. Now they've added up to get to almost $150 billion because there's money attached to this loan that's outside of the stimulus package. But generally, to qualify for SBA loans, generally, the credit score minimum is like 640 to 680. And also something that people don't know, with SBA loans, you got to have a business credit score. Okay, there's a business credit scoring system called FICO SBSS. Okay, that's a small business scoring service. You got to have a minimum score of 140 to be able to qualify for an SBA loan. Now, again, hey, they haven't necessarily said you need these standards, but typically that's how it is with SBA loans. Now, you'll have all the way up until like the end of the summertime to apply for these. So if you don't have good credit now, if you don't have business credit now, you need to start working on that, whether that's you as an individual, whether you're doing the research, or whether you're getting with a company that can do it for you, so you can be positioned to get these disaster loans, because again, this is free money that's out here. So what is required to qualify? We already talked about credit history. You got to have good consumer credit and business credit that's acceptable to the SBA. Repayment. SBA must determine that the applicant business can repay the SBA loan based on past revenue and business credit history. Now, again, they may relax some of these requirements over the course of the next few weeks. As of April 1st, they weren't relaxed, okay? But as of next week, maybe they will. I guess it's depending on how many people start qualifying. It's like a first come, first serve type thing. So what y'all got to understand is that if you were preparing, like we've had thousands of customers that have came through our company and were involved in our program. Some that was signed up for a few months and they got the result they were looking for, and some that's been customers for 2 or 3 years and now they're just getting the credit they've been looking for. But the bottom line is now they're in a position to get approved for these types of loans because now they have great personal credit and now they have great business credit. Now, they didn't necessarily need the credit at the time, but what they were doing was getting ahead. Remember what I was talking about earlier? Remember earlier I said the reason why you want to get ahead now is when times when life ain't treating you so good and you get a little bit behind, you'll still be ahead because you was already ahead. That's the whole purpose of making sure that your finances are in order ahead of time. That's the whole purpose of making sure that your credit is ahead of time. And now the game is not even personal credit anymore, because let me tell y'all what the system has done. See, the people that's behind the black curtain, right? You know, they call this like the feds, the Federal Reserve is really not federal, and a whole bunch of other stuff they ain't gonna talk about. You gotta understand they keep creating layers that makes it more difficult for people without means to break through and live a lifestyle with their dreams. See, it used to be just personal credit. If your personal credit was jacked up, you were limited, right? You were limited, you couldn't get through. But over the years, especially over the past 5 to 10 years, there are millions of people that figured out the credit game. In fact, there's millions of companies that are in the credit repair industry. And it's not that difficult if somebody just moves forward and let somebody work in their credit to improve it. So what the people at the top has done, they've created an additional layer. That additional layer now is a business credit scoring system. And the vast majority of people across our country don't understand business credit. They don't care about it. They just think that if they have good personal credit, they'll survive. But what's happening now is that now we have limits on your utilization that decreases your personal credit score. So people are building their business based on their personal credit. The utilization goes high because they're trying to build their business. Now their credit score goes low. And when they reach tough times, they're out of business because they have no further access to capital. Why? Because they don't have a business credit score. This is a little bit more that free game I was talking about. So you got to be able to prepare yourself, because that's that additional level, okay, of red tape that you're going to have to get through to make it to the other side now. The game is changing in the financial services industry. And personal credit is not only good enough anymore. And with them changing up the way that even reports over the course of the next 6 months, there's going to be a lot of credit scores that go in the toilet if they're not freeing up that utilization by having business credit. All right. Okay, repayment. They're going to, like I said earlier, determine that the applicant can repay the business loan based on their past revenue, business credit eligibility. Applicant business must be physically located in a declared county and suffering working capital losses due to declared disaster. All right, so you just need to figure out, why you suffering losses and attach that to COVID-19. All right, I'm telling y'all, because everybody else is doing this, they are definitely going to do it. So you got to figure it out. All right, you got to figure it out. Like right now, like I'm suffering, like my face, I can't go to the barbershop. No, I'm just kidding. But y'all get what I'm saying. All right, so it's due to a downturn, hardship. That's what they're looking for when you apply for this loan. And even if y'all don't think your credit's good enough, even if you have no business credit, I still want you to apply for the loan. I still want you to do that anyway. Let me tell you why. Because if you're in the pipeline and most people don't do this, they're going to give it to people who at least applied. So go ahead and apply regardless. But let me tell you what you need to do if you get the money, or even if you don't get the money, is fix your personal credit, fix your business credit. Make sure you do that as soon as possible. Also, y'all listen to me closely. If the loan stays below $25,000, it can remain unsecured. That means you don't have to have any collateral, okay? If it's above $25,000, then they will have to collateralize the loan. That means they're going to need have to secure the funding. So that means if you own a home, they're going to want you to put the home down to be able to secure the loan. Now, it's not necessarily bad, especially, if you got the wherewithal to be able to pay this money back. I want y'all to understand that you shouldn't get just excited by the fact that they're giving away money and you don't got to pay it back, right? Like, that's cool, right? Because it's free money, but don't get excited about the free money. What I want you to get excited about is the opportunity of what you can do with the money, okay? I want you to get excited about the fact that now you have access to another layer that's going to take you to the next level, all right? That's what you got to get excited about. Because if you continue to get excited about things that are free, if you continue to get excited about something that's given to you, then that means you just get excited about having what we call a welfare mentality. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm coming from a humble place. Let me tell you why. It's because certain periods of times growing up, my mother had to get welfare because she was out of a job for a certain period of time. We had to live on food stamps for a certain period of time. But she never made that a part of her everyday life. As soon as she got a job, we were off welfare and we were off food stamps because she believed anything that she wanted in her life, she had to work for. That kind of tenacity actually made me who I am today. Now, what if I saw her growing up where all she wanted was a check, where all she wanted was the food stamps, and I never would have turned out to be the person I am. So what I'm saying is people across our country who have lived like that all their lives, not because they wanted to, but because that's the only thing they know, is we got to re-engineer their perspectives on how the financial climate works in our country. Now, hopefully y'all can appreciate what I'm sharing with you here, because I want you to be able to pay this forward to somebody else. They should have stopped giving us food stamps and welfare money. What they should have gave us was more education. What they should have taught us was the power of credit and how to invest. What they should have taught us was how to be able to minimize our tax liability and how to start investing into the asset class. See, that's the way our communities wouldn't even look like how they look right now. But let me tell you something, baby, it ain't too late. Man, I'm getting excited. Y'all don't worry, I only got a few more slides. I know y'all thinking Rico is getting late. But it don't matter. Y'all ain't got nowhere to go tomorrow. 90% of the country locked down right now. Okay, all right, so get with me. Be excited about what we got going on, because let me tell y'all something. This is a movement. I have never been more passionate about anything else than I'm more passionate about what we're doing right here. Why? Because it's changing lives. We're saving families. We're creating legacies that's going to last for generations to come. And guess what, baby? Now you're a part of it. Even if you don't want to be, you're a part of it. Even if you don't rock with us, you still gonna remember this conversation, and tomorrow you're gonna encourage somebody to do better. Yeah, I love what we do. All right, so moving on. 60 days or later on child support payments, federal debt judgments, federal tax liens, that also will cause denials as well. So what you want to do is make sure that you get your situation together, when it comes to that. Okay. All right. So when can you apply to get this loan? You can apply right now. All right, like right now, there's literally a place where you go to apply, and I'm going to tell you where that place is here shortly. If you meet the qualification criteria to apply for the EIDL loan, that's the Emergency Injury Disaster Loan, submit an application to the SBA, you will receive a $10,000 advance. They're saying within 3 business days. Okay. Now, I've already applied for the loan, and I know it was. Well, I need to check your account. Because they're asking for your bank account right now. Like, I applied for the disaster loan before the stimulus package came out, just to see what was going to happen. I got friends and business mentors. They're like, man, just put it in and see what's going to happen. Right? See what's going to happen. Like, we don't even need the capital, but they're giving it away. And we got to pay stuff with it anyway that they're going to forgive. Then why not do it? Right? So at the end of the day, we did it. And they actually just updated the application earlier this week. So I need to check the bank account that I put on there because maybe it did get deposited. It was probably about 3 days ago. $10,000 advance in 3 days. And it doesn't need to be repaid. I want to make sure you understand that. The SBA is aiming to make a final determination on the disaster loans within a 2 to 3 week time frame. Initial disbursement of $25,000, if you got more than that, is expected to arrive within 5 days of the approval. The remainder of the loan will be dispersed on a schedule until you receive the full amount. The schedule will be set by an SBA loan officer responsible for ensuring that you meet all the requirements and the conditions. Okay, now check this out. Again, these loans and applicants may receive an emergency grant up to $10,000 that does not have to be repaid, and the funds will be available within 3 days of a successful application. Okay, so that means you need to go ahead and apply. I don't know personally if it's going to happen or not. Remember, all this stuff is just rolling out. But if it does happen and you do get the money, you're going to be super glad you got on this webinar. Now, what I want y'all to understand is this. And if you ain't listening to nothing else tonight, make sure you listen to this right here. There's only $10 billion allocated for the loan advances. $10 billion. Okay? And check this out. If it's $10,000 advances, if you divide 10 billion by 10,000, that gives you 1 million. So that means that there's only 1,010,000 advances they're going to be giving away. So what does that mean? You need to go apply tonight, and hopefully you're one of those first 1 million. So where can you apply? Now we got a place on our website where you can as well. But I'm going to give you an additional link because this goes directly from the Treasury. This money is not even coming through the SBA, through the banks, and through Novae. No, we just have a link on our site because we have a whole section. It's COVID-19 resources, where you can get that direct link to apply for the PPP loans, but also a link that you can apply directly to the SBA site for the disaster relief loans. Also information about the stimulus check, COVID-19 general information. This webinar I'm doing right here is also on that section of our website. And also for some people who are on here that have started a business after these dates, that we talked about earlier, or, even if you got good credit and you just want to get additional funding, you can do that if you got above 700 credit score right there on the site as well. But check this out. Do not go to the banks or call the banks trying to apply for the EIDL, trying to get a loan advance. Banks do not do this type of funding. All right. The direct link, if you want it, is sba.gov/disaster. Okay. sba.gov/disaster. All right. And then you can actually click on the tab on our site if you need to. Again, with this as well, there's no cost to apply. That's something that y'all need to watch out for because there are going to be so many people out here charging money just to help you apply for these loans. There's a difference between somebody servicing you on the back end to help you get documentation together versus charging you to apply. There's no cost to apply for the PPP loan, and there's no cost for you to apply for the EIDL loan or to get your loan advance. There's no cost for that. And the reason why you want to go ahead and apply is there's no obligation to take the loan if it's offered. Okay, so you don't have to take it if you don't want it. The maximum unsecured loan amount is $25,000, like I said before. Anything over that, you're going to have to secure it. Okay, applicants can have an existing SBA disaster loan. Like I was telling y'all before, there was already money allotted to this category for the SBA every single year. It was $20 billion, then they increased it to $50 billion. With a few bills early on to help out businesses through this whole thing with the disaster and the pandemic. And then they put more money into it when they came out with the $2 trillion stimulus package. And you still can qualify for EIDL if you have an SBA loan already. So before we end up, let's talk about how to prepare to make it through this crisis and coming recession. And then we're going to get out of here. Okay, these are 11 tips I got for you really quick. And I think it's a really good culmination of everything that we talked about here tonight. But I want to make sure that everybody really understand the magnitude of this moment. Hope you got some energy and some encouragement and you're inspired to do something different. You know, my job here wasn't to sell you on trying to get involved with Novae or trying to, you know, even apply for the loan with us. Obviously, it's going to be in your best interest to try to get it done as quickly as possible. And probably one of the only ways you can do it, unless you have an existing SBA banking relationship, is to do it through a portal like we offer. But my goal wasn't to get you here to do that, because at the end of the day, I wanted to make sure that I was sharing this information to help us continue to get ahead. Let me say that again, to help us continue to get ahead. So I appreciate you being here. That us is everybody who's watching and listening to this right now, whether it's April 2nd, 2020, or whether you're listening to this in September 2nd of 2020. The bottom line is, congratulate yourself on making it this far out through this information to figure out how you can change your situation. This is going to culminate everything I was talking about, because we are going through a crisis right now. This is a pandemic. And what's going to come after this is going to be a recession, you know? And some analysts are saying it's going to be a Great Depression. Whatever the case may be, you don't have to accept that to be your reality. You don't have to accept the fact that if everybody else is struggling, you are going to struggle too. I want you to hear that and understand it. That's not a call for me to try to motivate you. I'm trying to get you to buy into maybe a different reality than you potentially bought into prior to tonight. The reason why I feel like I am where I am in my life right now, you know, with the relationships that I have, with the money that I earn, you know, with the friendships that I have, the places that I travel, things that I get to do. The reason why I feel like I'm here is because with God, I've been able to create my life. You know, I just don't settle for what's given to me. I go and get what I feel like I deserve. And if you're hearing me tonight, I feel like that you should feel the same way, right? Now I don't want to, you know, encourage you to feel some way you don't want to feel. But the reality is, if you really want to do what you want to do when you want to do it, if you really want to do something different, if you really want to upgrade your life, guess what? You can. But the fact is, you got to do something different. So I'm going to give you 11 tips real quick about how to make it through this crisis and come a recession. And I almost guarantee you there's going to be something in here you can do different to start that whole process. Number one, okay, review this CARE Act that we talked about. You can even go back and watch this whole video presentation again. This link is going to be sent directly to you after you finish this presentation. I want you to review the criteria and apply as soon as possible. Why? So you can try to get access to this money, okay? Because we really got to be able to start leveraging whatever assets we can get our hands on. And you got a lot of people that start talking crazy and start talking about how the value is, you know, the value of the dollar is going down. And you need to invest in the Bitcoin. And you need to invest in gold. And you need to do this. You need to do that. Listen, I'm not arguing and saying you don't need to. I mean, my portfolio is diversified, right? At the end of the day, you know, but I let my money guy handle all of that. You know, I focus on what I'm good at. And I also don't buy into a lot of what people are always trying to sell me, right? I got myself educated for a reason. And I understand that the reason why our economy is suffering right now is not because many of us are not trading Forex. It's not because many of us don't have enough gold. It's not because we don't have our money, you know, diversified in the ETFs and different commodities. The simple reason our whole world and our communities are not getting ahead is because they don't understand the basics. They don't understand credit. They don't understand a budget. They don't understand how to pay down debt. They don't understand what a utilization ratio is. They don't understand any of that. So if we can fix that, then we can start building wealth in our communities and we can start investing in things like real estate. It's never going to go anywhere. And we can start building this legacy that we want to leave for future generations to come. So number two is get as much unsecured revolving credit capacity as possible. And what do I mean by that? See, when you have great credit, you put yourself in a situation where you're able to you know, access money that may not be real money at that point, you know, but you can actually utilize it, okay? All right, so you want to be able to get that. And how you're able to do that is obviously if you have good credit, you'll be able to leverage that. So if you have a credit card or different things of that nature. Number three, ensure your credit is as strong as possible, okay? Ensure your credit is as strong as possible, 700 plus. and you want to do that again so you can leverage these different situations, whether it's the loans, okay, or whether you're putting yourself in position to start businesses, okay, and you got to be able to do that as quickly as possible. So if you got personal credit that you're struggling with, okay, then you need to start working on that. Even if you don't want to hire a company to do it, there are companies out there where you can get information that has like DIY, just do it yourself to fix your credit. There's also companies like us that help you with your credit, all right? But you need to do that as soon as possible, get your credit score up to 700 or better, okay? So you can leverage different situations to get you through the storm. If you do lose your job, if you do lose access to money, maybe you don't have the money you need. Well, if you got a good credit score, you can get you a loan for, $10,000, $20,000 unsecured loan that maybe you can live off of until we come out of this situation. Or maybe you can get that you can invest into a business where you can triple or quadruple that within a short period of time. All right, so all those are different assets and different things that we can show you how to be able to take advantage of. Number 4 is to minimize your tax liability. Okay, minimize your tax liability by revisiting your W-4 and adjusting it correctly. All right, I'm not going to go into that here tonight, but there are many people on here that can actually help you with adjusting your W-4 so you can minimize your tax liability. So what does that mean? Instead of paying more money to the government each and every month for your taxes, you can reduce that and actually have more of that money coming to yourself. And then you take that money and you start paying down debts, you start building your emergency funds, and then eventually you start investing. And also you can have some money to have fun as well. I like to do really cool stuff. So you should do that too, if you like to do cool stuff. Number 5, if you don't have a business yet, start one. Okay? As soon as possible. If you don't have a business, start one as soon as possible. All right? So make sure you do that, and again, the easiest businesses to start are the ones that just cost a few $100s, the ones that already have infrastructure. If you think about the reason why people start franchises, is because the business plan has already been created. All they got to do is get in and get trained. And if they got some tenacity and determination, they start making money right away in a franchise. Well, that's the same way that it works in an affiliate marketing company, direct sales, or companies that are already established. Is you just invest a few $100s, learn the system, and you can get in and start getting paid. Or you can start any other type of business. The bottom line is you just want to start those businesses so you can start having some tax deductions, which further minimizes your tax liability, and also so you can start earning some passive income. And who knows, you might start earning some aggressive income, get off that job, and start living the life of your dreams. But again, that just puts you in a position to start further building the cash equivalent section of the asset class. All right. Number 7, you work on building your emergency funds as soon as possible. That's one of the reasons why you want to go ahead and start making some additional income outside of getting this free money that we're talking about, is because you want to make sure that you got about $3,000 set to the side, right? Where you can utilize if you ever needed it as quickly as possible. If you have a flat tire, there's no reason to have to call the church up and take a collection on Sunday so you can fix your tire. Okay, that's a disappointment if you've been working all your life and you're an adult. And I'm not saying that in a condescending way. I'm saying that if anybody needs help, they should be calling you because you're doing so well, you can help them. Not because you got to call somebody because you need them. Because God bless each and every one of us with greatness. We just got to attach ourselves to something that can pull that greatness out of us. Okay, so that $3,000 mini emergency fund, also that true emergency fund, which is 6 months of your total expenses. If you got those things saved up, you're making some passive income, you got the money from your job if you still have one in your primary business, and you start, paying down all your debts to become debt free, start investing. That's when life really gets fun. Okay, that's when you can start going on a couple of vacations per year. I always recommend at least going one place per year that you've never been before. So each and every year you can start adding it up. As I think about it, like over the course, the last 19 years, I started traveling at the age of 20. That's the first time I went out of state. I've probably gone to maybe more than 50 different states or countries that I've ever been to before, mainly countries that I've never been to before, and done some really cool stuff. Because every year I always go to at least one new place that I've never been. I feel like that adds value to your life. Maybe you don't think so, but that's something I think you should probably put on the list is live a little bit. Number 8, budget and shift your cash flow to pay bills, to cash flow to bills bypass to pay down debt. Yeah, it's getting a little late. Okay, I'm reading my slides and I can't even see what I'm reading. Budget and shift cash flow to bills bypass to pay down debt. So basically what that means is, like, for example, if your money's tight right now, okay, and you have an opportunity, because I know there's some mortgage companies right now that's allowing you to do a mortgage forbearance, where you can basically not have to pay your mortgage up to a year. And they don't forgive it. But what they're doing is they're actually putting those mortgage payments on the back of your mortgage payment, right? So let's say, for example, if your mortgage payment is $1,500 per month, you call up your mortgage company and you say, hey, I'm being really affected by COVID-19 right now, and I need to be able to, go into a forbearance. What can you do to help me out? I heard that I could get this for up to 12 months. Okay, and you got to understand, the banks are also getting this money from the government to cover this stuff. So it's not like they're just giving you this opportunity because they love you. No, they're all right. So now you got this $1,500 per month that you don't have to pay to your mortgage. But what I recommend is, instead of just banking that $1,500, if you already got money into a fund or put away, maybe you got to put that $1,500 away for a couple of months. Don't spend it. Put it away. Save it. If you don't have that mini emergency fund, let's save that $1,500 2 months in a row. Boom. Now you got it saved up. Now what we want to do on month 3 is we want to take that whole $1,500 and we want to start killing the highest interest debt that you have. And most of the time, it's revolving debt. You got credit cards that are maxed out. That charge you 29%, 38%. You want to start killing that debt as quickly as possible, because what's happening, every month you're making those payments, but your payments is going towards interest and not principal, so you'll be paying that debt all your life. So what happens is you start paying down all that debt, you become debt free. Then when you come out of this forbearance, okay, that's on the back of your loan. It didn't hurt your credit. Now you don't have any credit card bills. You didn't get behind on your mortgage payment. Now you're in the game because you have more money. I mean, your life could be changed, but that's one of the things you want to start doing. Looking at ways that you can reallocate funds and start paying down debt as quickly as possible. Debt is a major killer of not only our finances, but our credit. When you got jacked up credit, when you got jacked up finances, believe me, your life is jacked up. And a lot of times people say, well, no, my life ain't really jacked up. That's because you ain't really thinking about it right now. And you start thinking about it, you're going to be like, man, my life really jacked up. And there's times that you have to think about it. So what I encourage you to do, as we continue to widen this gap between the upper class and the lower class, the middle class is going to totally disappear at some point. And I'm not trying to scare you. What I'm trying to do is help prepare you and let you know that you ain't got to be with everybody else that don't make it. If people going to be poor, you ain't got to be poor. If people ain't going to have, that ain't got to be you. The people who really enjoy life, that could be you. And when you start believing that, you'll believe in yourself enough to start investing your time, energy, and your money into something that can get you to where you want to be. And for me, I'm grateful that somebody put me on a webinar like this, or put me in front of somebody else talking like this, that woke me up, because it changed my life up. Number 9 is a proper mortgage loan forbearance. I got ahead of myself. I just talked about that. Number 10, put loose change to the side. People always say, man, this probably really doesn't matter that much, but I at least save like an extra $400 or $500 a year, sometimes more, just doing this. Not only my change, but I put like loose dollar bills or $5 bills. I got this jar. When I come home at night, I got a $1 bill or a $5 bill in my pocket of change, I throw it in the jar. So over the course of a year, it just stacks up. I think the most I had one year is like almost $800, $900 in the jar. And you just take that somewhere and just keep building on that. And then that money that I was putting in the jar, I save it up, go take it somewhere, and then that money makes more money. And that's really where you want to get, when you can see your money make money. At this time in the market, that's really not happening. If you got retirement, don't freak out too bad, especially if you're around my age, around 30s and your 40s, even in your 50s. The market is going to, correct itself. You're a little bit older, and all of your money with certain things. You really need to be talking to your money guy each and every day about different things you need to do to get your situation straight. But the market will correct itself, so don't make any sudden moves if you're under 50 years old, okay? Also, adjust your thermostat in your home, at least 1 degree lower or higher, depending on the season. Like right now, it's getting warmer. So maybe they say, I haven't tested this out, because I don't pay attention to this certain thing, and then maybe I should. Like, I don't pay attention to gas price. People talking about gas prices, this is a concept I really don't get, I guess, because I eat gas, I just get gas. It hadn't always been like that, though. I want y'all to understand. I've been blessed for a long time. But it used to be a point in time where I only could put $3 in the gas tank or $5 in the gas tank. But what I'm saying is, this tip that I'm about to give you with thermostat, they're saying that if you just adjust your thermostat for every 1 degree you adjust your thermostat, it'll save you off 7% of your utility bills. Okay, so that's another good tip. And lastly, what I got for you, and I can go on and on more and more, but what I want y'all to do is join a support group that will reinforce your new life choices. Okay? Join a support group that will reinforce your new lifestyle choices. It's critical, because I'm a huge believer in you are who you hang around and you are who you listen to. Isn't that true? Mr. Haziq Ali, my business partner, he's also the vice president of sales and acquisitions for our company. He was saying yesterday on a video, he's like, what most people don't understand is the reason why they don't get ahead in life is because what entertains them trains them, right? And they always are focusing on things that's entertaining them, but it's not really training them to get the life they want. There's nothing wrong with loving to be on social media. There's nothing wrong with watching Netflix. There's nothing wrong with going to the club unless it's in the middle of this pandemic and you need to make sure you're at home. Y'all understand what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with doing different things that you like at certain times, but it's importantly critical that we start living with intention, that we start doing things for a reason, And I'm not just saying, oh, well, Rico, you got to be about business all the time. No, let me tell you something. If you broke, then it's like you being about broke all the time. That may be a little hard to hear or hard to digest, but it's the truth, right? Like, if you're not where you want to be, stop looking at people, making them feel bad because they're going hard for their families and themselves. And start looking in the mirror and start asking yourself, are you going hard enough for you and yours? See, because at the end of the day, when we get to these times where it's really rough, and when people really don't have food and people really don't have anywhere to live, and when the government stops giving out this money, when it gets to that time and you haven't done what was necessary, then that's when it's going to be tough to answer to your kids, to your spouse. That's when it's going to be tough to answer to everybody who was telling you it was cool to hang out, and everybody that was telling you that little business you was trying was never going to work, and you quit because you were listening to them versus the individuals that was trying to tell you to get prepared. So I want to encourage you to stop moving like you moved in the past if you're not where you want to be. If you're losing your life financially right now, it's an indication that you're probably hanging around a bunch of losers. Now, I'm not saying losers in a derogatory sense where the people are not worth anything. What I'm saying is they're not winners. If you're not winning, you're losing. Like in sports, if there's two teams playing, typically they play until some team wins. Now, very, very few times the score ends up in a tie. In fact, like in basketball, it never happens. They'll keep going overtime after overtime after overtime after overtime until somebody wins. And typically in life, that's how it is. You don't tie. You either win or you lose. And if you're not winning right now, then that's an indication that you're hanging around losers. So what I encourage you to do is get on the team of winners so you can win. So that wraps up my 11 tips. So to end this thing, I want y'all to go ahead and text this keyword like I was saying earlier. And I got some other stuff I want to show you really, really quick. And then I'm going to take some questions for individuals who are on here, okay? I got a few, and I know we're going on an hour and 46 minutes. But at the end of the day, this is important. Like I said, everybody, we don't have to drive to tomorrow. So we ain't got to go anywhere. Hopefully everybody's staying at home. So I'll stay on here a little bit and answer a few of the questions that I can answer so y'all won't inundate our customer service team tomorrow. But text the keyword new money, no spaces, just new money to 94253. And when y'all think about Novae Money, that's what it actually means, new money. Novae Money, it means new money. because Novae is a Latin word, novus, which stands for newness or new beginnings or new. Okay, novus, not novus, novus. It says it real good in our Novae interactive presentation, right? But that means new beginnings. So that's what we want for all of our clients and our affiliates. So what's next, y'all? Write this down. April the 16th. April 16th. I'm going to be doing another webinar, but on that webinar, I'm just going to be talking about the updates, everything that's happened between today and April 16th, which I anticipate a lot is going to happen. I'm not going to be doing a full presentation. It's probably going to be, I'll probably have a couple of slides. I may even be reading it from a document and telling y'all everything that's changed, any provisions, any other money that they made available. I'm also going to be, talking about who's gotten paid, including me, like if they sent Novae Money or other companies money and what amounts that were paid to give y'all a general idea if you haven't applied yet, what you can be looking for. We're also going to talk about strategies to get more money and get the most money when applying for these really out more money if they've given all of this money away by that time. So I'll be educating on that, and then if we have time, get into talk about collective asset building and opportunities. Now, our whole goal over the course of the next several months, as we're going through this recession, is to build a massive real estate portfolio. And since we're already partnered with several lenders that's going to fund these deals, what better time to do it than now when a lot of this real estate is going to be dirt cheap. So if you want to be a part of that, you want to make sure you hook up with the game. And when I say gang, not gang like beat it up people, kill people, but our movement, the individuals that referred you to this webinar. We have an excellent group of people, man, that really care about people. We like to make money, who doesn't? But our focus is more so on our mission. Our focus is on helping people in our communities. So this is the last slide, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, we want to know how we can help you. Like I said, you want to contact the affiliate that put you on this webinar here tonight. If you go to our website, novaemoney.com, you'll be able to see the red button on the homepage that says COVID-19 funding, where you can go ahead and apply for the PPP loans tomorrow. And find other information, those resources. We also offer free consultations. If you want to fix your personal credit, you want that to be restored, you want to be educated. You can find out more about our program by getting with the affiliate that referred you to this webinar and going to their webpage. Their webpage looks exactly like ours. So don't think just because you go to novaemoney.com, you won't get the same information. Why? Because every affiliate has a novaemoney.com website. But you can sign up for a consultation to talk to you about your personal credit. We'll actually help you pull your credit while you're on the phone. We'll go through everything with you, and we'll tell you if we can help you out, even get you started. We also have consultations for business credit and funding. You want to start building your business credit, we can help you with that. Our offices are right here in Conyers, Georgia. Obviously, my entire staff, because we're in a mandatory shelter in place, are working remotely right now. But we're still answering the phones. We're still answering support tickets. You can chat with us on the website. As you see right here, there's a box where you can chat with us. And our office hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are our phone hours. And if you have any other questions that I don't answer tonight, you can always reach us at loans@novaemoney.com. So that being said, my wife said, you're welcome, El. So you got notes on notes. Yeah, Southern. Joseph, yeah, we in the South. That's why we Southern, baby. What's going on? You act like you already know Southern. You must be from the Northeast or something like that, Joseph. You're welcome, Brandon. David, did you say that anyone who owns government tax board type agencies more than 60 days, you won't be able to get loans? Who has owned government tax board type agencies more than 60 days? Oh, I'm sleepy, y'all. I'm sorry. No, I said more than 60 days late on child support. If you got a judgment or something like that associated with your tax return, you need to go ahead and get a payment plan as soon as possible, and then you can apply. If y'all owe the government right now, you still can, apply for the loan. It just has to be a payment plan set up. Just to be clear, if you get a Social Security, all you need to do is file a simple tax return. That's right. Yep. When you get Social Security, you just need to file a simple tax return. So just get with a tax professional that can help you with that. There are what's the rules for borrower defense repayment? Borrower defense repayment on student loans. I'm not sure if I've heard of it, Daryl. It might be something you want to Google.
Yeah, just questions.
Okay. All right. So my wife is bringing me another computer with some more questions, so I'll go ahead and go through those real quick. Thank you, Demita. Thank you. Awesome, my brother. Thank you. Love ATL. That's right, Phyllis. ATL is where it's at. The $10,000 loan, want to clarify, do you need a business to apply for the loan? Yes, you do need a business, but you also be a sole proprietor, which is still a form of a business. You can be an independent contractor, is 1099, which for all intents and purposes is still like a business because you can actually take deductions. So yes, you do. And if you are not a sole proprietor, if you are not an independent contractor or a gig worker, if you're not any of those, then you wouldn't be able to qualify at this point because you had to have it in place prior to January 30th, 2020. What if you're a subcontractor and have a small business? Do you get all the money or more money? If you're a subcontractor and have a small business, do you get all the money or more money? I'm not sure what you mean by that. If you're a subcontractor, it doesn't really matter. It just really depends on how you're structured. Are you a sole proprietor or are you an independent contractor? Are you a business? Like, how do they pay you? LLC, or are you an S Corp, or you a C Corp? Earl, Mr. McCameron, would you tell someone who saw this and doesn't have a business and wants to start one, possibly get some of this money? If they haven't started a business yet, Earl, they can't get any of this money that's going to the business owners. Obviously, they get the money going to the individuals and families. However, if they want to start a business and they have more than a 700 credit score, we can still get them Novae UBF, which is unsecured business funding. Okay. All right, so I got some other questions over here. I'm going to transition to I work for AEG, but I don't get paid. I hang flyers for them, and I work for 719 Nightlight flyers for them. Can I get the business loan myself? It depends on how you're paid, Bobby. It seems like you might be an independent contractor. Okay, it seems like they're probably paying you. They're probably paying you as an independent contractor, 1099. If that's the case, yes, you can file if you're a 1099 independent contractor. Have you heard anything regarding to being able to apply for FEMA due to the pandemic? Haven't heard anything about FEMA, Ms. Morrow. So that may be something that you want to Google or ask around. I'm sure the FEMA offices are inundated right now. Should I have been clicking this on this stuff?
You don't want to get in the, I'm in the way.
Man, when is your book coming out? Information you got to teach. I'm definitely going to be writing another book soon. So look out for that. Unmarked messages that okay.
There you go.
If you started your business in early January 2020, don't have a profit and loss for 2019, go ahead and still submit everything. If you have a business prior to the time period that I gave y'all, just submit it no matter what. Because let me tell y'all something. When they try to get stuff out really quickly, and if they do like roll that way and they say you don't have to pay it back, there's going to be a lot of people that receive that $10,000 loan that probably don't even necessarily qualify for it, because things will fall between the cracks. And large organizations and systems and processes that are not set up and in place that have been tried, tested, and proven over time are meant to have issues. So there are going to be people that receive larger loan amounts that probably are not supposed to get it. So, I recommend applying even if you don't know if you'll qualify. Just apply anyway and see what happens, okay? All right, so moving on to the next question. Can you start a business? Where are these questions coming from? Oh, they keep popping up. Oh, okay, yeah, I ain't gonna be able to answer all these questions. So I'm gonna answer probably about. Yeah, Hazik, stop sending these over. So I'm gonna answer about 15 minutes more questions, and we're gonna get off here because it's nearly 11 o'clock. What if you're a caretaker and work with the IHSS? I'm not sure what IHSS is, Michael, but I would assume again that maybe you're a 1099, independent contractor, and if that's the case, then yes, you could qualify. What if you on Social Security and never filed taxes? Will you still qualify for benefits? You need to file taxes, D'Amica. So that's going to be, again, the simple tax return, okay? Is it too late to file taxes if you didn't for 2018 or 19? No, John, you can file taxes at any point. You can file your taxes in 2018 and 2019 right now. You have until December of 2020 to get the stimulus checks, and into the summer and in September to get the other type of funding. But the thing about the business funding stuff is, those funds are probably going to be depleted soon. So you want to apply as soon as possible, everybody, okay? It's not just like going to be there like they're saying. That's why they don't even really readily mention the deadlines, because they know the funds are going to be depleted at some point. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you could go ahead and apply. So yes, you can just file simple tax returns on those. Mita, what about if your child support is affected because the paying parent had the virus? Now that's a good question. From what I've seen, they don't address any of that in the bill. But I would assume if they get the virus, they're going to be getting money from the government anyway. So a portion of that money will actually go towards paying the child support, I would naturally assume. James, how do you do this as a non-veteran? I'm not certain what a non-veteran is. It was in the news this evening that people who receive Social Security does not file taxes to receive individual money. Okay. All right. So yeah. So that's what somebody said with regards to that. And again, y'all going to be seeing information unfold over the course of the next few days, next few weeks. That's why I'm doing a Q&A session on the 16th to update everybody on some of the new enrollments. Yeah, but I'm not familiar with. This actually was sent to James, not me. Amanda, if applying for a home loan with student loan, if applying for a home loan, will student loans go towards debt to ratio during this time? That's a good question. Right now, it's very interesting time in financing. Unless you are probably employed with an essential business type company or making a substantial income, or have really strong financial means, it's going to be difficult to get approved for any type of financing right now, because we're in a very turbulent time. So that's something that you want to ask your mortgage loan officer, Amanda. But at the end of the day, I think it'll be challenging. And if everything with your finances is okay, if you don't have anything that's in forbearance, they're going to count it, against the DTI. And I would assume they would count it against it anyway. Reason being, it's not going to be in forbearance forever. So if you're trying to buy a home and your mortgage is 30 years, I would think they would include that regardless if they were in forbearance or not, because in 1 year it's going to come out of forbearance. So you need to be able to afford that mortgage. What if you're already getting unemployment? Will they auto increase? Yes, you're going to get an auto increase. If you're already on unemployment, you shouldn't have to do anything for that. If you have somebody who's you work with at an unemployment office, I would recommend you probably reach out. But from my understanding, if you're on unemployment, they're just gonna pay you that additional $600.
It's going to be a replay, right?
Yes, the replay is actually going to be available as soon as this ends. All right, so y'all will be able to see that on our website, or even if you go back to this link, you should be able to see the replay.
So if they missed anything, they have some questions about. They can go back and watch.
Yeah.
Some of the questions that are coming in now is things that you had already covered.
Yeah. So and also, if you register, you're going to be able to see this in your email. So just check your email as soon as I end the session, and you'll be able to see that.
You need a 680 credit score to apply for economic disaster loan.
Well, no. Like I told y'all before, for SBA loans, which is like SBA 7A loan, is what these EIDL loans are really categorized that. And SBA loans have credit score minimums, personal and business, but we don't know if they're going to uphold that minimum requirement with the EIDL loans. So like I said earlier, just apply regardless. And if they say they will make those requirements, hopefully, even though you don't get the loan, you still get the $10,000 advance. And by the way, there's a box that you can check on the website that actually tells you, that asks you if you want the $10,000. So you can go ahead and do that as soon as possible. Offset refunds are those refunds limited to those who were offset on or after March 13th, 2020. That's a great question. I would assume from what I read, okay, don't take my word totally for this, but from what I read, it seemed as though everyone who have been affected by COVID-19, and everybody should say they've been affected by COVID-19, if they had their taxes offset because of student loans, they should be getting that refunded. They said 1.8 billion, I think it was, for 380,000 people or something like that. I can't remember the numbers. I know it was in my PowerPoint. But the bottom line is, that should go away. All right. Who do I contact about getting my student loans reduced?
We already answered it. You need to contact the person that got loan.
Okay. I just started a business. Do I qualify? Jasmine, it depends on when that business was started. If you mean just started like yesterday or last week, or the week before last, anytime in March, anytime in February, no, you don't qualify. The PPP loan, I think you have up to February 15th that I was talking about. So anything beyond February 15th, no, you don't. If a person joins Novae tonight as an affiliate, can they apply for the $10,000 tomorrow? Yeah, you absolutely can apply for the $10,000 tomorrow if you join Novae tonight. That doesn't mean you're going to get it, okay? But you can apply. All right, everybody can apply. You need to join Novae regardless. All right. Do gig workers qualify? Yes, Michael, they do. I talked about that in the presentation. Beautiful, My Financial, are they basing it off, this was or what you filed this year? I'm not certain what you're referring to because I talked about a few different types of loans. But yeah, obviously, if it's dealing with your income, that's why they need your tax returns to base the amount that they're trying to give you from your tax returns. That's why they say you need to file taxes. If I only did owner draws and not give myself 1099, but do file taxes. If I only did owner draws and not give myself 1099, but do file taxes. Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying here. If I try to decipher that myself, I would assume that you're saying, but you file taxes, but you didn't give yourself a 1099 and took on the draws. That would be a good question for your CPA. At the end of the day, you're still paying yourself income, and you're like an employee of the business, whether or not you are W-2 or 1099. It's like that's staff pay, and obviously you still have to pay your staff in order to operate your business. So that would be my argument. If you took owner draws, if you gave yourself a K1, okay, you could utilize that, I would think, in lieu of the 1099 to be the evidence of what you paid yourself as the employee / owner.
There's karaoke, Lyft, Uber, fiber workers. Can they qualify and apply?
Yes. Is this available to corporate as well? Zion, is this available to corp as well? I'm not understanding what that means. I'm sorry. It is 1% for 2 years. Thanks, T, the real. Yeah, somebody notified me of that as soon right before I started this webinar. They said that was changed today. I appreciate that update. What day do nonprofit agencies file and apply? The same date as everybody else. If you're referring to the PPP loans, I would attempt to do that on the very first day. The EIDL loans, they can start applying right now. So tomorrow, if there's links available to apply, I would. I really don't know, again, at the end of the day, if they really will be open, okay? So it's important for y'all to understand that they may come out tomorrow and say they're postponing. But if you will be able to apply for the loan, the PPP loans, you'll be able to do that on our website tomorrow.
You've answered this like 3 times, but can you call his name to answer this question because you've answered it?
Oh, well, you should have been listening. Myra, did he say your job has to give you paid leave for school closure? Did he say your job has to give you paid leave for school closure? Yeah, that was in there. That was in what I was talking about. Let me go back to that. Okay, so I'm not sharing anymore. So I talked about school closures.
Earl wants to know if he owes taxes and hasn't filed, are they going to disregard him because he owes, or can he still file?
Yeah, well, so
Get the bottom.
I haven't filed my taxes, but I do owe. So my question is, if I file, they're just going to disregard what I owe and give me my refund. Well, no, I mean, if you know you owe, then that means you're not due a refund. But if you file your taxes, even though you owe them, they're still going to give you this rebate. Now, they're not going to give you your refund if you owe them. You're going to have to pay it. But if you file, you're still going to get your rebate. If that's your question. All right. So yeah, I said paid family leave. If you have kids, that are at home, you gotta be there with them.
If you have 2 businesses, do you apply for the funding on both of them?
It seems like from the language that I'm reading so far, that if you're attached to the business that you're applying for, and like for example, if I have 2 companies and I got 2 sets of employees that I have to keep on payroll, I got 2 sets of bills and expenses, whether it's utilities, rent, and things of that nature, that's going to obviously be qualified for the PPP loans, right? The EIDL loans is going to depend on whether both of those businesses were affected. Now, if you're an independent contractor and you're making so much money on all these businesses, it probably won't be a good argument to try to get money for all of those because you may not need that capacity. All right. What if you are a small biz and independent contractor? Which should you apply for? Both, James. We talked about that. Laquisha, or loans based on credit. The EIDL loan is potentially based on credit, but we don't know as of yet. I would say don't even worry about it. If you have a concern potentially about your credit, just go ahead and apply anyway. If I'm the CEO, I'm also the employee, right? Well, it depends, on how you pay yourself. But at the end of the day, if you are the CEO and you have no employees, for the purpose of this paperwork, yes, you are the employee, because the goal is to keep yourself employed. Okay, so that'll be your argument to file a PPP loan. Can you apply for this small loan and the large loan? I'm not sure what you mean by the small loan and the large loan. You're referring to the $10,000 loan and whatever's behind that. The $10,000 loan is just an advance on the large loan, but you get to keep $10,000 if you don't qualify for the large loan. Now I wonder who was in the boardroom that agreed to that. It was like, you know what? Let's just let them keep the money. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if we don't get them a loan, we're gonna let them keep the $10,000. As a matter of fact, we're gonna do that for 1 million people. Whose decision was that? Whoever made their decision, that was great. Thank you very much. All right. Is it better to show lower income for this loan? Well, it depends on what loan you're talking about And also, you got to remember the lower the income you show, the less likely they're going to give you a large amount because you're not going to be able to pay it back.
Marie said, my daughter's been asking if I'm completing the EIDL and it's asking for gross revenue, but your business isn't sales. Would I include income in that field?
Well, no, you're not going to include like personal income. If that's what you're asking. No, you're not going to include personal income as long as for the business. Now,
you need to read the question.
No, I got it. Now, however, hey, if you don't really have much revenue in your business and you want to include personal income, and then when the person contacts you about it, just tell them, let them ask the questions, and then you say, oh, so I don't include personal income, right? I think the whole saying is it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, right? Now on these loan applications, it's important that you don't lie. But obviously, sometimes there may be some on the application that you might not necessarily understand, right?
I work for AEG, but I don't get paid. What you said, so you read all these?
No, I was still reading.
You didn't mark them?
Yeah, I hope hopefully Hazik stop soon. But can you start a business in 2020 and still take advantage of any of these business loans? Well, it depends on when in 2020. I gave those dates that you need to start prior to, which is February 14th or January 30th. If anything after that, then no. But we do have funding you can take advantage of right now. If it's in the business, but you got to have the credit. The loans that we have that service bad credit are not lending right now. When I say bad credit, I just call that less than perfect credit, right? But that's credit scores that's lower, lower than 680. The industry consider that subprime.
If you are an LLC and you don't work a job, do you need a cosigner?
Yeah, well, that doesn't have anything to do with cosigning. Cosigners are basically brought to the table when you need somebody who has better credit. That's when you bring in what we call a credit partner. This is what we call it in the business world. Will any of these business loans affect if I'm trying to buy a house in the next 90 days? Will the go against debt to income ratio? Yeah, well, that's a good question. That's what we don't know right now. We know, now I do know that there's no personal guarantees, right? And also it's going to depend on the amount of the loan. Remember, you can get that EIDL unsecured for less than $25,000. But if it's over $25,000, it hasn't secured. But I'm unsure if they're going to report it to your personal credit. I wouldn't think so. But I'm not going to say that, specifically, and then it not be true. So that's the question you want to ask. You want to ask your mortgage officer. All right, so my wife said this is the last question, y'all. Yes, ma'am. Oh,
will you repeat what you said regarding work? I am an essential employee. However, I have no child care options. What can I do? Second, is there a way to reduce rent if out of work due to closure/illnesses, not just COVID-19? These are two separate situations.
Yeah, well, everything that's being given out right now in terms of this money we talked about tonight is due to COVID-19. This stimulus is to serve the issues that's regarding the pandemic. So, if it's not dealing with the pandemic, then, obviously the SBA, and it sounds like you're asking this question from an employee perspective because you said you're an essential employee, and then you went on with your questions. So if you have no child care options, then at the end of the day, you are supposed to receive this additional money that I talked about, for individuals who are affected when they have to stay out of work for child care. Right? Is there a way to reduce the rent if out of work due to closures? The only provisions that I saw right now that's dealing with rent mortgage is if they're federally backed loans. So that's something that you want to contact your landlord about and start talking to them about what options do you have in regards to not paying, right? At the end of the day.
You can reply to that.
I got one more question.
No, you can pass that one. Typing.
All right, so one more question. Okay, it's on the floor.
No, that's it. No, you already answered those. Look at them. You already answered those.
Oh, okay.
No, you can look at but you already answered them.
Will Novae be able to help somebody get a consolidation loan? Yes, Phyllis, we do consolidation loans on the website on novaemoney.com. So Phyllis, if you're the Phyllis that I know that's in our company, I know we got a few Phyllises. But if you are already in the company, on your personal loans tab, there's consolidation loan options. So that's how you can help them with that. And we got a few more, somebody else in these last questions. I work in direct marketing and the 1099 is in my name, not a business name. Can I still able for a business loan? Was the same question that just answered. Yeah, you can, but again, you just consider yourself to be an independent contractor, instead of 1099.
But I think you answered that.
How did they even get on here?
I thought it was my computer. I thought it was my business.
Okay. So in order for me to apply, I have to join Novae. I can't apply through the banks, but to go through the process, Novae. No, you don't have to be a Novae affiliate to apply for the loans. For the PPP loan, no, you don't have to join the company. You're not handcuffing people and saying, hey, y'all got to join us. You just click on the link and just go. So if I rejoin, can I start where I left off, or do I have to pay the fee again? Yeah. So you just got to see what your situation is. You got to call in and see what it is. All right.
I work in direct marketing in the 1099.
Yeah, that's that.
Okay. With student loans, will you eventually have to pay back, or will it be forgiven during this time?
Yeah, well, the student loans, they were saying that it's a forbearance. Now, there is a part of the bill they're trying to get pushed through to forgive stimulus. And I was looking at, if you looked at the infographic that I showed earlier, it actually talks about a certain percentage that are actually dedicated to student loans. Actually 43.7 billion out of that individual category is dedicated to student loans. So I'm unsure if that's just the forbearance of those loans and they're just kind of lending them the money, but it's kind of odd that the federal government is lending the federal government the money for those loans. So, that's when it gets real hairy, because at the end of the day, they're giving all this money, but they're not doing it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, got to cut this short here. Got another meeting to get on in about 7 minutes. So I know it was a little long, but I wanted to give you guys an overview of the company that I've joined with, okay, that is going to help your financial situation, okay? So if you came on late, definitely look at, start this from the beginning. And for those of you who have specific questions about what we have at Novae, please reach out to me on Facebook under Ontario Hawkins, and I'll be happy to answer your questions, okay? Just in a nutshell, what we're doing at Novae is we're helping you establish personal credit, okay? Get your credit score up personally, and then most of all, business credit, so that you can apply for business loans to get funding to be able to invest in other entities as an entrepreneur. He emphasized on this presentation, you need to become a business owner, okay? That is vital, especially in the days we're living in. So thanks for watching, guys. Again, I'm going to leave some information below here once this video propagates. And if you got any questions, once again, please feel free to reach out to me on Facebook, or you can also go to my website, prodigymarketingonline.com, and book a time to speak with me there. All right. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great night.